Chapter 1456. Bloodthirsty Demon Tree. Grandson, since there's nothing else, let's go back. It's not safe here. Now that you've activated the demonic beast, your potential is limitless. There's no need for you to risk your life in the forest of no return. Yin Yifeng looked at Yang Hanwu and added, Moreover, we should invite young master to the Yun family as a guest. We should treat him well. Grandfather, this time, I'm going to look for the ancestors' inheritance. Young master can help me. Yin Bufan shook his head and said, Grandfather, let's go back first. There are many trivial matters in the family. Moreover, the Liao family is eyeing us. Grandfather can't leave for too long. Otherwise, it will cause unnecessary trouble. Yun Yifeng sighed when he heard Yang Hongwu's resolute words. He didn't really believe that Yang Hongwu could help them find the ancestors' inheritance. However, he didn't say anything else when he saw the resolute tone of his grandson and how certain his words were. Although he really wanted to find the ancestors' inheritance and accompany Yun Bufan to search for it, Yun Bufan was right. The Yun family couldn't leave him yet. If anything happened to him, the family head at this time, the Yun family would really be finished. All right, then you must be careful. Yun Yifeng said, Don't worry, grandfather. Young master's strength is incomparably strong. He can come and go as he pleases in the forest of no return. Moreover, young master is the child of destiny. It's my fortune to follow him. Even if we encounter danger, we can definitely turn it into safety. Therefore, grandfather, you don't have to worry at all. Yin Bufan said. Yun Yifeng's pupils shrank when he heard the word child of destiny. He finally understood why his grandson was like this. He knew his grandson's temper and character the best. It was impossible for him to submit to anyone. However, there were some special people who were different. The child of destiny was one of them. How could Yun Yifeng not know what the child of destiny meant? The child of destiny was the will of the heavens, the will of the heavenly Tao, and even the will of the great Tao. Those who followed him would obtain a supreme opportunity. If that was really the case, then they had to rope him in and tie the Yun family to him. That way, the Yun family could truly regain its former glory. Then I'm relieved. Yin Yifeng turned around and left without any hesitation. Yang Hongwu smiled bitterly. Of course, he knew what Yin Bufan was thinking by saying such words at this time. Young master, I'm sorry. This subordinate has overstepped his boundaries and acted without authorization. Please punish me, young master. Yin Bufan hurriedly knelt down and lowered his head, not daring to look at Yang Hongwu. Forget it. You didn't do anything wrong. Yang Hongwu shook his head and waved his hand. Thank you, young master. Many thanks, young master. Get up. Yang Hongwu said, I'm going to accompany you to find that so-called inheritance. However, I don't have much time. I have to hurry back to the lower realm. Young master wants to return to the lower realm? Which realm? Songxing continent. Yang Hongwu said. So it's the Songxing continent. Yin Bufan heaved a sigh of relief and said, If young master wants to go to the lower realm controlled by other forces, it won't be small. However, the Songxing continent is a subordinate world controlled by our Songxing god domain. If young master wants to go down, our Yun family has a way to do it. That's good. Yang Hongwu said. Young master, don't worry. I will arrange this matter in advance. If young master is in a hurry, you can return to the lower realm in 3 days. Yin Bufan said, As for the matter of finding the god of no return technique, we can talk about it in the future. 3 days later? All right, let's take a stroll in the ancient forest of no return in these 3 days. Yang Hongwu faintly felt that there was something in the ancient forest of no return that was attracting him. For Yang Hongwu, it was impossible for ordinary things to have such a feeling. Since such a situation occurred, that thing was definitely not simple. Thank you, young master. How would Yin Bufan know what Yang Hongwu was thinking? He thought that the reason why Yang Hongwu was willing to take a stroll in the ancient forest of no return for 3 days was to help him find the inheritance of the god of no return technique. Therefore, Yin Bufan was extremely grateful and excited. Let's go. Yang Hongwu walked forward. This direction was the direction where a mysterious force was attracting him. Have you been there before? Yang Hongwu asked. I've been there before. There's an ancient mountain over there, and within that ancient mountain, there's a group of mutated beasts residing there. The strongest mutated beast among them is a tree demon that is tainted by devilish qi. It's extremely terrifying, and I'm not a match for it. Hence, every time I went there, I would always travel a great distance. As he spoke until here, Yin Bufan felt fear in his heart. If it wasn't for the fact that the tree demon couldn't move, the ancient mountain would have been completely devoured by it. Young master, are you thinking of going to that ancient mountain? Yin Bufan said. That's the place. Yang Hongwu said. Since you haven't been there before, it is possible that the inheritance of the God of no return technique is there. Although Yin Bufan didn't want to go, he couldn't help but admit that the possibility wasn't small. However, that ancient mountain was controlled by that terrifying tree demon. Once one entered the range of the ancient mountain, one's life and death would no longer be in one's own hands. Back then, he had personally seen a divine monarch realm expert die in the hands of that tree demon. He was devoured alive by the tree demon. In a breath's time, his flesh and soul were devoured, turning into a pile of bones. Young master, that is the bloodthirsty demon tree. Even divine monarchs aren't its opponent. We have to plan carefully. If we go there without any preparation, I'm afraid we won't be able to gain any advantage. Yin Bufan said, Didn't you say that I am the child of heaven, the child of the world? Yang Hongwu said, You also said that I have monstrous luck on my body and that no evil can invade me. Regardless of whether it is evil or unorthodox, if they go against me, they will definitely die. Isn't that right? Yin Bufan choked. He did say that, and he wouldn't doubt it. However, this was only his guess. He had never seen it for himself. Moreover, the person who had monstrous luck and was invulnerable to all evil was Yang Hongwu, not him. Yang Hongwu also had luck on his body. Nothing would happen to him. However, it was different for him. Although he no longer had the identity of a forsaken person, he didn't think that he was like Yang Hongwu, who had supreme luck protecting his body and was invulnerable to all evil. Chapter 1457. Yin Bufan's Breakthrough. What are you afraid of? Since you said that the tree demon is restricted and cannot leave the ancient mountain, what are you worried about? If we encounter an accident and cannot deal with it, we can leave the ancient mountain. What is there to be afraid of? Yang Hongwu said, but he was actually worried. If it was not for the fact that there was something in the ancient mountain that attracted him, Yang Hongwu would not take the risk. After all, this was not a joke. Not to mention an expert who was about to reach the Divine Emperor realm. Even a Divine Emperor realm expert would be difficult for him. However, Yang Hongwu had a premonition that if he gave up, he would regret it for the rest of his life. It was because of this that Yang Hongwu had no choice but to take the risk and explore the ancient mountain. All right, since Yang Hongwu had said so, Yin Bufan naturally did not say anything more. He knew that Yang Hongwu had already made up his mind, and it was not something he could change. Now, Yin Bufan only hoped that Yang Hongwu was right and that he had a way to let everyone leave safely. We're here. Soon, Yang Hongwu and Yin Bufan appeared in front of the ancient mountain. Along the way, they did not encounter any powerful exotic beasts or dangers. There were not many living creatures along the way. It was very strange. It's too quiet here, Yin Bufan said. Master, I feel that something is not right here. Don't worry, it's not a big deal. Yang Hongwu did not open his eye of extermination, but he could sense the aura in the surroundings. Other than a few powerful auras in the ancient mountain, there was no danger in other places. The reason why there was no life in the surroundings was because of the ancient mountain. The demonic bloodthirsty tree in the ancient mountain was too ferocious and overbearing. The spiritual qi in the surroundings of the ancient mountain had been devoured. Any living creature that came close to the ancient mountain would have their life taken away. Therefore, there was no life in the surroundings of the ancient mountain. The lush greenery in the surroundings had actually become the incarnation of the demonic tree. Yang Hongwu was very clear about this. However, to Yang Hongwu's surprise, the demonic tree did not take any action when he and Yin Bufan arrived. This made Yang Hongwu feel a little strange. Logically speaking, the demonic tree should have taken some action, right? Could it be that the demonic tree already fell asleep? If that was the case, then it didn't make sense. Master, it's better to be careful. Why don't I send a Pathfinder mouse first? Yin Bufan said mouse. Pathfinder? Yang Hongwu shook his head. Pathfinder? Pathfinder mouse, Pathfinder mouse. Young master, we can at least test this out. Yin Bufan said. There's no need at all. The Pathfinder mouse is too weak to find anything. Moreover, there are almost no animals here, only plants and creatures. This proves one point. The animals that enter this ancient mountain are all dead. There's no doubt about it, Yang Hongwu said. Then, there's nothing to hesitate about. Since we've already reached this stage, we have to continue walking. Furthermore, the no-return divine technique that your Yun family has passed down is most likely in this ancient mountain. That demonic tree is probably a guardian left behind by your ancestors. If you don't even have the guts to do this, how can you hope to obtain the inheritance? That is simply a fool's dream. If you don't have the courage, how can you get the inheritance of the divine no-return technique? Yang Hongwu looked at Yin Bufan and said, So, don't hesitate anymore. Master, you are right. I was wrong. If I don't have the courage to move forward, I won't get the recognition of the ancestor. It's even more impossible for me to get the inheritance. I finally understand. For so many years, I have entered the ancient forest of no return several times. However, I never got the recognition of the ancestor and couldn't find the inheritance. It's because I don't have the courage. Yin Bufan sighed. His eyes became brighter and his aura became stronger. Although he had entered the ancient forest of no return many times and seemed to have great courage and perseverance, in fact, he had always avoided the dangers after entering the ancient forest of no return. He had never stepped into the places that were guarded by the strong exotic beasts. Although he had been searching in the ancient forest of no return, he had never tried to find the inheritance of the divine skill in the places guarded by the strong exotic beasts. If so, how could he find the location of the inheritance? Moreover, the path of martial arts was about bravery. Without bravery, how could one improve? After thinking about this point thoroughly, Yin Bufan's cultivation had a breakthrough. He directly broke through a realm from level 1 Tai, true God realm, to level 2 Tai, true God realm. Moreover, there was a faint trend of increasing. Yang Hongwu was speechless. This guy was sick enough. With just one sentence, his cultivation had increased by a level. Impressive. He was indeed impressive. Yang Hongwu had to admit that Yin Bufan's talent was indeed very strong. If he had enough resources and obtained the so-called divine skill of no return from the Yun family, he might really be able to break through the bottleneck of the Sir God realm and break through the shackles to become an expert of the unparalleled divine emperor realm. The possibility of this was very high. Of course, even if Yin Bufan was extremely talented, it was impossible for him to reach such a level in a short period of time. Yin Bufan's cultivation was only at level 2 Tai, true God realm, and he was still very far away from the Sir God realm. It was still too early for him to reach the divine emperor realm. The divine emperor realm was extremely strong, and it was an existence that surpassed this world. How could it be so easy to break through? Congratulations on your breakthrough in cultivation, Yang Hongwu said as he looked at Yin Bufan. Thank you, young master. This is all thanks to young master. Without young master's guidance, I wouldn't have been able to comprehend it, and I might not be able to cross this hurdle in my lifetime. After Yin Bufan's cultivation had broken through, he felt refreshed, and his entire being was filled with a strong fighting spirit. Since you have broken through, let's go to the ancient mountain, Yang Hongwu said. Young master, let me lead the way. At this moment, Yin Bufan was no longer as cowardly as before. Instead, he looked high-spirited and vigorous. All right, Yang Hongwu did not refuse. In terms of fighting power, Yang Hongwu was really incomparable to Yin Bufan. Of course, if Yang Hongwu used his trump card, it would be a different story. Before he used his trump card, Yang Hongwu was indeed not Yin Bufan's match. With Yin Bufan leading the way, Yang Hongwu was naturally more relaxed. Chapter 1458. Palace it seems that the demonic tree is waiting for us. Yin Bufan saw this scene and couldn't help but raise his vigilance. The weapon in his hand was already raised. I would like to see what the demonic tree is planning. Yang Hongwu's eyes emitted a cold light. In fact, if he didn't know that the demonic tree's true form was a tree that cultivated the demonic path, Yang Hongwu wouldn't have any confidence. However, the demonic tree's true form was a demonic tree that cultivated the demonic path. Yang Hongwu had a way to restrain the demonic tree, which was why he dared to be so bold. Otherwise, Yang Hongwu would need to set up a formation before he dared to enter this ancient mountain. Not to mention any special or powerful formation, but at the very least, he would need to set up a formation before entering the ancient mountain. At the very least, he would need to set up a lightning formation before entering the ancient mountain. After knowing the situation of the demonic tree, Yang Hongwu didn't need to be so worried. If he encountered any trouble, he could release the red lotus karmic fire to suppress the demonic tree and set up a formation. If that still didn't work, then he could only use the world extinguishing magical lightning. TSK. The power of the world extinguishing magical lightning was imaginable. This place was very special. If it was in the common people's continent, the power of the world extinguishing magical lightning would definitely be terrifying. Yang Hongwu wouldn't dare to simply detonate the world extinguishing magical lightning. However, this was the deity domain. The laws of the deity domain couldn't be compared to the common people's continent. Releasing the world extinguishing magical lightning here would only destroy the ancient forest of no return. Of course, if he did that, it would definitely cause a lot of trouble. It might tear apart the world barrier of the deity domain and gain a lot of karma. It would also be rejected by the heavenly will of the deity domain. However, Yang Hongwu wasn't worried about this. Karma, to others, was a very scary thing and harmful thing. However, to Yang Hongwu, this karma was an excellent supplement that could help the fire lotus to increase its cultivation. If there was enough karma, the fire lotus could definitely be upgraded to another level. Yang Hongwu's red lotus karmic fire would also be greatly upgraded. After all, once a divine fire like the red lotus hellfire reached a certain level, it would be very difficult for it to be upgraded again. Under normal circumstances, it would be impossible to upgrade it. However, if there was enough karma, then it would be different. Of course, karma was limited in the Sangshan continent, and the effect was also limited. The karma in the deity domain was different. After all, the world level of the deity domain was one level higher than the mortal continent. Young master, are we still going to continue? Seeing that Yang Hongwu had stopped, Yin Bufan asked. Of course we're leaving. Now that we're here, I'm afraid it's no longer up to us to decide whether we want to go up or not, Yang Hongwu said faintly. When he heard these words, Yin Bufan turned his head and wanted to retreat. However, he discovered that there was no way out behind him. The small path that he had originally taken up had actually turned into a huge cliff. The bottom of the cliff was filled with frightening astral winds, and it was incomparably dangerous. If he fell down the cliff, it was likely that he would die without a burial ground. What's going on? Was it an illusion? Yin Bufan asked in shock. Illusion? Yang Hongwu smiled faintly and shook his head. No, this is not an illusion. After saying that, Yang Hongwu threw a stone down. That stone fell into the cliff and was instantly shredded into powder by the terrifying astral winds. So powerful. The stone that Yang Hongwu took out was not an ordinary stone. It was a Star Dipper stone. It was an excellent material for forging weapons. Any weapon forged from this material would be an emperor weapon. However, under the terrifying astral winds, it was instantly shredded into powder. One could see how ferocious the astral winds were. Thus, Yin Bufan couldn't help but take a few steps back. The astral winds are so terrifying. No wonder the warriors and even the strange beasts that entered the range of this ancient mountain never came out. Yin Bufan took a deep breath and said, I'm afraid those warriors and strange beasts have all died here. However, the demonic tree is so powerful and terrifying. Why didn't it leave the ancient mountain? The ancient forest of no return was incomparably vast. Other than the ancient mountain, there were many other terrifying places with countless powerful strange beasts and countless treasures. However, the surroundings of the ancient mountain were barren. There were no other living creatures other than plants. It could be said that it was very barren. Logically speaking, such a terrifying expert wouldn't stay in this place. However, he had never heard of the demonic tree leaving the range of the ancient mountain. I'm afraid you'll have to ask the old ancestor of your Yin family. If I'm not wrong, it's not that the demonic tree doesn't want to leave this place. It's just that it can't leave this place, Yang Hongwu said. In fact, Yang Hongwu had already discovered that there was a powerful seal on the ancient mountain. The reason why the demonic tree couldn't leave this place was because of the seal. That's right. If that guy is the guardian chosen by the old ancestor, it'll be too outrageous if he leaves this place. Yin Bufan said, Master, shouldn't we make some preparations now? Of course not. Yang Hongwu squinted his eyes. We're already in the ancient mountain. Let's wait here for the demonic tree to arrive. As he said that, Yang Hongwu raised his right hand and gathered a ball of light. This ball of light shone brightly and formed two ancient words. Demon Slayer. With a soft shout, these two ancient golden words turned into two rays of light and shot towards the depths of the ancient mountain like meteors. Bam! On the ancient mountain, two balls of black light exploded and collided with the two golden rays of light. Instantly, a loud bang was heard and the mountain shook. The golden light dissipated and a huge palace appeared in the void. This huge palace was filled with demonic aura and evil aura. It was like an endless purgatory. On top of that huge palace, there was a huge skull. Its empty eye sockets were like two scary black holes. Creak! A loud sound was heard and the door of the huge palace slowly opened. Looking up, the depths of the palace seemed to be endless. It was incomparably deep. A strong pressure was emitted and it made one's heart tremble. He's here. A voice came from the depths of the palace, and it sounded as though it was right beside one's ears. Such terrifying strength. Yin Bufan's face changed. Master, the other party is way too strong. If he were to strike, I would be like an ant and would be crushed to death with a snap of his fingers. Chapter 1459. Ancient Mountain. Bone Mountain Yang Hongwu gently waved his hand, and the huge palace disappeared. In its place was a towering tree that pierced through the clouds. It was filled with demonic chi, and countless corpses were entwined at the roots of the tree. One look, and one could tell that countless living beings had died under this demonic tree. When the corpses were gathered together, it was like a huge mountain of bones. In fact, the ground beneath Yang Hongwu and the others were piled up with corpses. Yin Bufan sucked in a breath of cold air. It turned out that what he saw was not a mountain, nor was it an ancient mountain. It was a genuine mountain of bones, a mountain of bones piled up together. Even Yang Hongwu was stunned. F***, this entire mountain was actually piled up with skeletons. Horrifying, this was truly horrifying. Who knew how many people this guy had killed? He was a demon among demons. Yang Hongwu felt his scalp go numb. Just think about it. If a huge mountain was completely made up of corpses and bones, then how many living beings would it have to kill? Such a scene made people tremble with fear. Yang Hongwu knew that he cultivated the Tao of slaughter and had killed countless enemies, but he was far from this. Even the calm martial lord of the Chaos Three Realms, Bai Qi, was known as the god of slaughter. In the Battle of Chongping, he had killed 400,000 captives. 400,000 was a shocking number. When piled up, it was also a huge mountain. But a mere 400,000 corpses, when piled up, would definitely not be as many as this mountain of bones. The difference was not small. If one did not stand in front of this mountain of bones, one would definitely not be able to imagine how shocking this mountain of bones was. On top of the ancient mountain, there was a huge tree. Its trunk was so huge that it covered the sky. In fact, Yang Hongwu knew how terrifying this demonic tree's body was. If not for the special restrictions, Yang Hongwu would not dare to provoke this guy. Good lad, you are the first person to see through my identity and break through my illusion. A man appeared in front of the huge tree. The man was dressed in black, and his eyes were red. He looked very evil. Although he looked evil, there was no killing intent on his body. The demonic chi was also retracted. Only his body was surrounded by boundless demonic chi and murderous aura. You are not bad. I can't bear to kill you. The demonic tree looked at Yang Hongwu and said, How about you submit to me? I can give you anything you want. Power, status, treasures. Wait, I have everything you need. Whatever you want, I can give you. You're just a great emperor now. I can help you reach the divine monarch realm in a single step. Yun Bufan could not help swallowing his saliva. Reaching the heavens in a single step, directly crossing over the realm of primordial true God and entering the realm of Sir God. This was such a huge temptation that anyone would be tempted by it. Yin Bufan could not help but look at Yang Hongwu. He did not want Yang Hongwu to agree to the demonic tree. He was very clear that once Yang Hongwu agreed to the demonic tree, only death would await him. One had to admit that these words were very tempting. Even Yang Hongwu was tempted. Seeing Yang Hongwu's reaction, Yun Bufan was very nervous and worried. He quickly shouted, Mister. Yang Hongwu turned his head and smiled. He then looked at the demonic tree and said, I have to admit that the conditions you gave are very tempting. However, why should I believe you? Why should I? The demonic tree laughed and said loudly, Because of my strength. Your lives are now in my hands. As long as I am willing, you will immediately become my nourishment and nourish my body. His words were very arrogant and overbearing. However, no one thought that he was arrogant. After all, his cultivation and strength were there. The huge mountain of bones in front of them was the best proof. More than 90% of the people who entered the ancient forest of no return would die on this mountain of bones. Ancient forest of no return. Yin Bufan suddenly thought of a terrifying thing. The ancient forest of no return might not be its real name. The real name of the Yun family's secret realm of inheritance should be the Bone Forest of No Return. Bone Forest of No Return was the word for bone and not ancient. Thinking of this, Yun Bufan took in a breath of cold air. The so-called inheritance secret realm of the Yun family was probably built by the ancestor in order to seal a frightening demon. And that demon was the ancient giant tree in front of them. Yin Bufan thought of this. Wasn't Yang Hongwu the same? The bone would have no return lived up to its name. Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes and said, You talk big. However, I am curious. Why do you only want me to submit and not him? He is the descendant of the Yun family's divine emperor of no return. He is extremely talented and has awakened the unparalleled battle physique. That old bastard Yun Bugue. I can't wait to eat his flesh and drink his blood. If it wasn't for him, why be trapped here? Hearing Yang Hongwu mention Yun Bugue, the demonic tree instantly went berserk. I, the bloodthirsty demon emperor, have dominated the world, but I was trapped here by that damned old bastard. If I could, I would kill every single member of the Yun family. So, you're restricted from killing people of the Yun family's bloodline. Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes and understood something. However, this was just a guess. It was only one of the possibilities. What the demonic tree said might not be true. Yang Hongwu even suspected that this was all part of Yun Bugue's plan. This demonic tree might even be a chess piece left behind by Yun Bugue. Of course, it was rumored that Yun Bugue had broken through the void and went to find the supreme fortune gate. However, who knew if this was true or not? Yun Bufan was frightened by the demonic tree's rage and hatred towards the Yun family. He couldn't help taking a few steps back. He was really worried that the demonic tree would kill him in one strike. If that happened, he would be out of luck. That's right. That old bastard Yun Bugue put a curse and restriction on me so that I can't personally kill the people of the Yun family. However, just because I can't do it doesn't mean that others can't. The demonic tree said coldly, In this place, I am the heaven and earth. I am a master. No one could disobey my orders. Whoever I want to kill will die. You talk big. You are just a prisoner, yet you are so arrogant. I have seen it for myself. Yang Hongwu said contemptuously. Chapter 1460. The might of the hellfire. When Yang Hongwu heard this, he was puzzled. Since when did he have the aura of a dragon? Could it be that this guy was also a dragon's? This was absolutely impossible. How could the bodies of dragons be trees? Suddenly, a thought flashed through Yang Hongwu's mind. Yes, it must be Nini. Nini's original body was the longevity ancient tree. She and Sure Bauer were like a world tree in his inner world. It could be said that his strength and the growth of his inner world were inseparable from Nini. The more powerful he was, the more powerful Nini would be. With the help of the Sure Bauer, the growth of his inner world was much faster than that of an ordinary small world. The difference between a martialist's inner world having heaven-defying spirits like the longevity ancient tree and the gem of life was huge. If there were a few spiritual objects of heaven and earth, especially spiritual roots of heaven and earth like the world tree, they would be of great help to the growth of a world. The difference between having them and not having them was huge. But now, his inner world had not recovered, so he did not know how Nini, Scherbauer, and Mauer were doing. This made Yang Hongwu very worried. The world's origin energy was still too little. However, now that he had obtained the Dharma Eye of Annihilation, it was just that it had yet to mature. Once it matured, he would be able to use it to obtain some world source strength and restore his inner world. Old man, don't try to get close to me. I have nothing to do with you. Yang Hongwu looked at the demonic tree and said coldly, As for you wanting to kill me, what a joke. In this world, there is no one who can kill me other than myself. Little reptile, looks like you're refusing a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Upon hearing Yang Hongwu's words, the demonic tree's eyes flashed with terrifying killing intent. As a peerless expert, even if he was sealed, he could not be easily insulted. The dignity of an expert was inviolable. Originally, he had decided to let Yang Hongwu go and give him a chance to live, because Yang Hongwu had the aura of his clansman in his body. However, Yang Hongwu did not know how to cherish it. Instead, he provoked him again and again. This was unforgivable. Little reptile, if you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. As he said that, the huge ancient tree stretched out huge branches. These huge branches were like huge pythons, incomparably ferocious. In an instant, they pierced through the ground, covered the sky, and attacked towards Yang Hongwu and Yun Bufan from all directions. The densely packed scene was terrifying. It was suffocating. Yun Bufan was terrified when he saw the situation. Terrifying, too terrifying. The demonic tree was a terrifying half-step divine emperor expert. He was extremely ferocious. Although he was sealed here by his ancestor, divine emperor Bugue, and his strength was not as strong as before, he was still extremely terrifying. Even peak divine Lord Realm powerhouses were far from being his match too. Young master, what should we do now? Yin Bufan knew himself well. Although he was a primordial true god, he was like an ant when compared to a terrifying expert like the demonic tree. The difference between the two of them was like the difference between a firefly and the moon. They could not be mentioned in the same breath. The difference was too great. Don't worry, Yang Hongwu smiled and said, Step aside. This demonic tree is nothing to be afraid of. You're talking big. The demonic tree laughed instead of getting angry. This lad was merely an Emperor Realm cultivator. In front of him, he was just an ant. How dare he be so arrogant? Let me see how strong an ant like you is. How dare you act so presumptuously in front of me? As he said this, the demonic tree's terrifying branches had already reached Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu chuckled softly. He was still as calm as ever, as if Mount Tai was about to collapse right in front of him. It was as if the terrifying attack in front of him had nothing to do with him. Seeing this, Yin Bufan was filled with admiration. This was a true expert, the true child of heaven, the child of the world. Even when facing such a terrifying attack, he was still able to remain calm and unflustered. This was something that no one could do. Only a true divine emperor expert could do this. Seeing that the demonic tree's attack was about to reach him, only half a step away, Yin Bufan's face was already pale. He knew that things were bad, and he thought that he was definitely going to die. He had already closed his eyes. At this moment, Yang Hongwu waved his right hand, and a ball of flame appeared. The ball of flame turned into a lotus and wrapped Yang Hongwu and Yun Bufan in it. A shocking thing happened. Those giant snake-like branches were burned when they came in front of the fire lotus and immediately retreated. Damn it! Damn it! The demonic tree screamed. You ant! How could you have such a terrifying flame? This is the karmic fire of the red lotus. The demonic tree was terrified. The branches that were burned could not be extinguished. The flames spread instantly. The demonic tree was a demonic cultivator. He had killed countless living beings. The karmic fire that he had accumulated was an astronomical figure. Once such a terrifying karmic fire was ignited, it would be terrifying. The demonic tree was terrified. He had no choice but to cut off his own branches and abandon those that were ignited by the karmic fire of the red lotus. Looking at the demonic tree that was screaming like a helpless girl, Yun Bufan was stunned. Unbelievable. This was really unbelievable. A half-step divine emperor expert was actually afraid of a ball of flame. This was simply unbelievable. A half-step divine emperor expert. What did that mean? Yun Bufan was very clear about this point. A half-step divine emperor expert strength was far beyond the peak of the divine monarch realm. In the divine domain, he was definitely an invincible existence. No one could be his opponent. However, this invincible half-step divine emperor expert was screaming like a little girl in front of Yang Hongwu, a second-layer great emperor expert. If this spread out, it would definitely shock everyone. Ant, Yang Hongwu sneered. Who is the ant here? Do you believe that I will kill you? Chapter 1461. Demon Extinguishing Finger. Looks like you won't shed a tear until you see the coffin. Yang Hongwu sneered. You still dare to be so arrogant at this stage. You really don't know what death is. Who doesn't know what death is? Demon Tree snorted. He was still wary of Yang Hongwu. He said, although the karmic fire of the red lotus is terrifying, I don't deny that it can hurt me. However, do you really think that the karmic fire of the red lotus is enough to deal with me? You're too naive. Although the karmic fire of the red lotus is powerful, it depends on who is in control of it. You're just a great emperor. You're just an ant in my eyes. You can use the karmic fire of the red lotus to deal with me. However, your cultivation is too weak. How long can you last? My body is so huge. This mountain and the entire forest of no return is my body. Unless you're at the peak of the divine monarch realm, you won't be able to control the karmic fire of the red lotus to burn the entire forest of no return. As long as the forest of no return is still there, I'm immortal. And you're my body. If it wasn't for that bastard Yin Bugue, do you think you'll be able to live until now? I'm a divine emperor expert. Although my strength has been sealed, and I'm not even 1/10,000th of my original strength, I'm still not someone you can deal with. Hearing Demon Tree's words, Yun Bufan's face turned pale. The entire forest of no return was the Demon Tree's body. Then, how powerful was the Demon Tree? Just how terrifying was his body? Yun Bufan's heart was filled with fear. He had a feeling that he couldn't fight against the Demon Tree. He even thought that he would die. Yang Hongwu saw that something was wrong. Although Demon Tree's words could attack Yun Bufan's belief, it could not shake Yang Hongwu's will. Who was Yang Hongwu? His heart was firm like a rock that could not be shaken. Not to mention Demon Tree, who was just a half-step divine emperor. Even a divine emperor expert would not be able to shake Yang Hongwu's belief. The stronger one's heart was, the stronger one's strength was. The strong cultivated the heart, the weak cultivated the body. This was an immutable truth. The weak would cultivate their physical body to increase their strength, while the strong would temper their mental state and beliefs. The higher their mental state, the stronger their beliefs, and the stronger their strength. His body might be invincible, but his mind might not be. If one's heart was invincible, then one's physical body would also be indestructible. This was the power of the mind. However, there were very few people who could reach this level. The so-called emperor was invincible in his heart. Although Yang Hongwu hadn't reached that level yet, his conviction was incomparably firm. His heart was absolutely strong. On the path of cultivation, Only with the heart of an expert, an invincible heart, could one truly embark on the path of invincibility and step onto the throne of the Supreme Emperor. The demonic tree was already a half-step divine emperor. Although he hadn't fully comprehended the power of the heart, he had already comprehended it. He was using the power of the heart, wanting to crush Yang Hongwu and Yun Bufan's confidence, causing their hearts to crumble. Once their hearts crumbled and they lost the heart of an expert, it would be extremely easy for him to defeat Yang Hongwu and Yun Bufan. However, he was wrong. Yang Hongwu's heart had exceeded his imagination. Solid Rock Heart Sutra. Yang Hongwu sensed the moment the demonic tree launched his attack. Seeing that Yun Bufan couldn't withstand it, he moved his mind and transmitted the cultivation method of the Solid Rock Heart Sutra into Yun Bufan's mind. After receiving the Solid Rock Heart Sutra, Yun Bufan instantly became clear-headed. From initial fear, despair, confusion, and then determination. The Solid Rock Heart Sutra was a cultivation method of the heart. When cultivated to the extreme, one's heart would be like a solid rock, indestructible. After losing the Eye of Fortune, Yun Bufan stimulated a powerful battle physique and obtained supreme fortune. His aptitude was astonishing, and he was favored by the heavenly Tao's fortune. Hence, he was able to achieve twice the result with half the effort. He soon entered the door of the Solid Rock Heart Sutra. Although he hadn't cultivated it to the great completion stage, it wasn't that easy to break his mental state. My heart is like a solid rock. My heart is like a solid rock. Yun Bufan murmured. How is this possible? The demonic tree exclaimed in shock. He couldn't believe that Yun Bufan had managed to break free. On the other hand, Yang Hongwu wasn't affected at all. Nothing is impossible. Yang Hongwu said coldly, Demon, what other tricks do you have? If there's nothing else, it's my turn. Damn it, damn it. The demonic tree's huge branches whipped towards Yang Hongwu crazily. When these branches attacked Yang Hongwu and Yun Bufan, they broke away from the main body and were abandoned. I want you to die. All of you must die. The demonic tree went crazy. Yang Hongwu's existence was a huge threat to him. He also felt a terrifying power in Yang Hongwu's body. This power was even more terrifying than the Red Lotus karmic fire. However, it was also a huge temptation. He could feel that the power was of a very high level. It was an existence that surpassed this world and this plane. That was a supreme power, an even higher level of origin energy. If he could seize this power of origin, then his life level could be raised and he could evolve to a higher level. He could break through the current bottleneck and become a real emperor, which was the so-called divine emperor. By then, this seal would be nothing to him. He could break it with a snap of his fingers. Therefore, he had a love-hate relationship with Yang Hongwu. He wanted to seize the supreme power of origin in Yang Hongwu's body, but he was also afraid of this terrifying power. If this power were to erupt, it could easily destroy him. This was a very complicated problem. If he were to fight, it would be very risky. However, riches were found in danger. There was no reason not to grab hold of the opportunity to break through. Die for me. After making a decision, the demonic tree went completely crazy. He attacked crazily and bombarded Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu was also shocked. This damned demonic tree. Could it be that he had provoked it to attack so recklessly? This was a way to kill 1,000 enemies at the cost of 800 of his own men. Yang Hongwu was not that stupid. The difference between his cultivation level and the demonic trees was too big. Although the Red Lotus karmic fire was powerful and it was definitely the nemesis of the karmic fire, Yang Hongwu's cultivation level was not enough. He could not hold on for too long. He had to think of a way. Otherwise, he would not be able to resist the demonic tree's attack. Demon exterminating finger. Yang Hongwu roared. A golden finger appeared in the air, exuding an aura of righteousness. This energy was the nemesis of the evil devil Qi. Chapter 1462. Demonic puppet. With this finger, the densely packed branches were pulverized into powder and dissipated into the void. That incomparably majestic, righteous Qi shot up to the sky. The entire Bone Mountain was cleansed by this righteous Qi. The originally gloomy and murky-bone mountain revealed a trace of freshness. Righteous Chi? How is this possible? The demonic tree's face darkened. He did not expect this guy to not only possess the supreme divine fire, the karmic fire of the Red Lotus, but also the righteous Chi. For a demonic cultivator, there were only a few types of energy that could restrain them the most. Most people only possessed one type, but Yang Hongwu actually possessed two. One was the righteous Chi, and the other was the karmic fire of the Red Lotus. Of these two types of energy, the latter was a great deterrent to the demonic tree, while the former was much weaker. If it was only one type of energy, with Yang Hongwu's cultivation and strength, the demonic tree would not be worried. However, Yang Hongwu actually possessed these two types of terrifying energy at the same time. If these two types of majestic energy were to be displayed together, the threat to the demonic tree would not be as simple as 1 + 1. This made the demonic tree extremely angry and terrified. He had to suppress Lin Fan completely before these two types of powerful energy were completely unleashed or even kill him. Otherwise, it would be a fatal threat to him. The power of the demonic finger was beyond Yang Hongwu's expectations. In fact, Yang Hongwu was shocked to discover that the power of the demonic finger was even stronger than the karmic fire of the Red Lotus that he had displayed previously. This made Yang Hongwu feel a little strange and even unbelievable. However, the demonic tree did not give him much time to study this point. The moment Yang Hongwu defeated the demonic tree's attack, the demonic tree launched a second round of attacks. This time, Yang Hongwu discovered that the surrounding plants and vines had come alive and were frantically entangling Yang Hongwu and Yin Bufan. Moreover, what was even more frightening was that this was not the most frightening thing. The most frightening thing was that the skeletons buried underground were actually crawling up as well. These corpses did not have flesh and blood, nor did they have their own souls. However, they contained a terrifying demonic aura. Puppet divine art. This is the death servant puppet divine art. Yin Bufan called out loudly. This divine art, no, it should be called an evil art. This is an incomparably powerful and extremely evil art. The puppets summoned by this evil art are undying and indestructible. In addition, their strength would be comparable to when they were alive. No, they should be even stronger and more terrifying compared to when they were alive. Demonic puppet arts? Yang Hongwu squinted his eyes. After all, the puppet evil art was not a threat. His karmic fire of the Red Lotus could counter all kinds of evil arts, including the puppet evil art. Yang Hongwu raised his hands and made a grabbing motion in the air, forming a ball of fire. The ball of fire instantly expanded, forming a miniature sun in front of him. This was a ball of fire formed by the Red Lotus karmic fire. Go! Yang Hongwu shouted and pushed his hands forward. The ball of fire instantly exploded, turning into a rain of fire that fell from the sky. Wherever the rain of fire fell, the evil puppets exploded one by one and fell to the ground. Then they burst into flames. The entire mountain of bones was burning. The originally ferocious puppets could not withstand a single blow from the rain of fire. In just a few breaths, the mountain of bones was covered by the sea of fire. Damned worm, do you think that you can deal with me like this? Too naive. The demonic tree sneered. His huge body was protected by layers of puppets and vines. It was a huge gap. Yang Hongwu's rain of fire could not fall on the demonic tree's body, even though his body was incomparably huge. Soon, the seemingly boundless sea of fire was extinguished. Yin Bufan was anxious. He looked at Yang Hongwu and said, Master, the demonic tree is too powerful. Why don't we retreat? No, I have a way to deal with it. Yang Hongwu squinted his eyes and said coldly, Moreover, do you think that we can escape? The entire ancient forest of no return is actually his body. He is everywhere. How do you think we can escape? The only way to survive is to kill him. Moreover, don't you want to obtain the no-return technique? But Master, the demonic tree is too powerful. Yin Bufan said hesitantly. There is no way out. Yin Bufan smiled bitterly and did not say anything else. Yang Hongwu's lips curled into a smile. In fact, Yang Hongwu had a plan in his heart. This time, he might be able to raise his cultivation to the next level. Even if he could not reach the late Emperor realm, it would not be a problem for him to reach the mid-Emperor realm. Of course, the prerequisite was that the demonic tree had fallen into his trap. Moreover, Yin Bufan had to cooperate. If Yin Bufan did not cooperate, it would not be easy to plot against the demonic tree. Yang Hongwu had guessed that Yin Bufan was closely related to the demonic tree. Or rather, Yin Bugue was closely related to the demonic tree. Thinking of this, the smile on Yang Hongwu's face grew even wider. Yin Bugue was plotting against him, but Yang Hongwu was also plotting against Yin Bugue. This huge mountain of bones, this endless forest of bones, TSK, it was all part of Yin Bugue's plan. In fact, Yang Hongwu only had a slight suspicion at the beginning. However, when he saw something, he was sure of his guess. The entire ancient forest of no return, the so-called supreme inheritance, was in fact Yin Bugue's plan. Come on, old man, old demon, is this all you've got? If this is all you've got, then you can go and die. Yang Hongwu chuckled and raised his hands. A huge furnace appeared in front of him. This was the devouring furnace. When the devouring furnace exploded, it was surrounded by terrifying flames. The flames were the red lotus karmic fire that was feared by the devil cultivators. It could incinerate all karmic fire. Once a person came into contact with a karmic fire, he would be burned to death by the karmic fire. He would be turned into ashes and die without a complete corpse. Seeing the devouring furnace, the demonic tree finally revealed a look of fear. The huge furnace formed a terrifying devouring power, as if it had turned into a huge black hole, crazily devouring everything around it. The plants and the evil puppets were all devoured and refined by the karmic fire, turning into pure energy. Chapter 1463. Bugue's Inheritance. How dare you steal my cultivation base? Enraged. The demonic tree was enraged. To think that this little reptile would dare to steal his cultivation base to raise his strength. This was an unforgivable sin. An unforgivable sin. Die for me. The berserk demonic tree extended a terrifying branch from its body. This branch transformed into a gigantic hand and pressed down on Yang Hongwu. If Yang Hongwu were to be pressed down by this hand, he would definitely be crushed in a meat paste. Yang Hongwu smiled. This time, he had finally fallen into the trap. Yang Hongwu looked at Yin Bufan, who was far away. At this moment, Yin Bufan had already retreated far away. However, Yang Hongwu knew that Yin Bufan, or Yin Bugue, had finally fallen into his trap. Everything was flawless. Yang Hongwu had already left something on Yin Bufan's body. It was well hidden. This was all part of his plan. Originally, Yang Hongwu thought that this plan wouldn't be so easy, but he didn't expect it to be so natural and easy. You want to kill me? You're too naive. Yang Hongwu laughed. Today, the ant in your eyes is going to kill you. Kill me? You actually want to kill me? You're dreaming, do you know that? I am a divine emperor expert. You'll never be able to kill me. You'll become a part of me. The demonic tree went berserk. The entire mountain of bones was shaking. The ground under Yang Hongwu's feet was also shaking crazily, as if it was going to crack open. The earth was shaking. Rumble, rumble. Suddenly, the ground appeared. A giant emerged from a gigantic crack. This giant was at least 100 feet tall. It was holding a giant hammer that was refined from a giant skull. The giant hammer fell towards Yang Hongwu's position. Seeing this, Yang Hongwu did not relax. The power of this hammer was absolutely terrifying. With his strength, he would not be able to block it. Although Yang Hongwu thought that his physical body was almost invincible, he still could not withstand such a powerful attack. Therefore, Yang Hongwu chose to avoid it. In fact, the giant was just a puppet. Although it was strong and overbearing, it was too slow. Yang Hongwu did not care about it at all. Die, die, die. The giant roared. Hammer after hammer, it pounded towards Yang Hongwu's position. However, it could not hit Yang Hongwu at all. Haha, everyone. You're too slow, too slow. Yang Hongwu shouted. Old man, is this all you can do? If that's the case, then I'm really disappointed. Let me tell you, I'm also a formation master. Ninth Heaven Thunder Formation, rise. Following Yang Hongwu's shout, a seal was formed. Rays of light shot up to the sky. The entire mountain of bones was enveloped in a huge formation. Formation, damn it. The demonic tree's face darkened. His huge body shook continuously. So what if it's a formation? Break it. The demonic tree condensed a branch and turned it into a huge hand. The huge hand grabbed a giant axe and swung it toward the sky. The axe looked like it was going to split the sky apart. However, it could not break the formation. The formation only shook a little. Then, huge bolts of lightning appeared and bombarded the demonic tree. Looking at the demonic tree's performance, Yang Hongwu knew that the demonic tree was scheming against him. He had to admit that the demonic tree's acting skills were amazing. In fact, the demonic tree's strength was not limited to this. If he really unleashed his full strength, Yang Hongwu would not be a match for him. It would not be easy to deal with him. Damn little bastard, your formation won't be able to do anything to me. The demonic tree shouted. It can only trap me for a while. If you think that a mere formation can deal with me, then you're too naive. If a mere formation could kill me, I would have died countless times. How could I have survived until now? I'll show you what I'm capable of. It's just a formation. It's not difficult to break it. As he spoke, a ray of light appeared in the demonic tree's huge body. The ray of light condensed into a shield. There were ancient runes on the shield. It was extremely mysterious. Shield of Heaven's Wrath. The shield instantly grew in size, turning into a huge shield that could blot out the sky, blocking all the lightning strikes. Following that, the demonic tree waved his hand again. Puppets appeared on the ground. These puppets were huge, and they were the same as the one that was chasing after Yang Hongwu. They were ferocious. The strength of these huge puppets could definitely be compared to a half-step god monarch. The strength of every strike was terrifying. If it wasn't for the fact that they were too slow, they could definitely fight against a god monarch. Be careful, young master. Over here, over here. Yin Bufan shouted. All right, Yang Hongwu replied. His body turned into a shadow and disappeared from where he was in a flash. He appeared beside Yin Bufan. Young master, this way. There's a tunnel here. Yin Bufan said. I've already checked it out. It's very safe here. Okay. Yang Hongwu nodded. He did not have much suspicion. You want to leave? Dream on. This is my territory. The entire Bonewood Forest is my body. You can't escape. The demonic tree shouted. Those huge puppets chased after them. Their huge hammers slammed on the ground. Yang Hongwu and Yin Bufan were shaken. Quick, quick. We have to be quick. Otherwise, this place is going to collapse. Yin Bufan shouted. His speed was getting faster. Yang Hongwu followed closely behind. We're here. We're here. After dozens of breaths, the two of them arrived at a huge palace. This is? Yang Hongwu narrowed his eyes. Looking at this huge palace, he was shocked. This palace was filled with ancient and mysterious energy. On top of the palace, there were a few ancient and mysterious words that contained a strong and domineering energy. That was the energy of the laws. It was written by a divine technique. Divine Palace of No Return. This is the Divine Palace of No Return. It's the place of inheritance of the old ancestor. I finally found it. After so many years, I finally found it. Yin Bufan looked at the palace in front of him and shouted. He was extremely excited. Outside, the demonic tree roared. He was incomparably furious. Damned Yin Bugue, you damned bastard. When the demonic tree was angry, the heavens and earth would collapse. Chapter 1464. Conspiracy and Calculation. Damn it, you two ants, I'm going to tear you into pieces. Damn you, Yin Bugue, I'm going to kill you. I'm going to wipe out the Yin family bloodline. Although the demonic tree was incomparably frenzied, its terrifying attacks were unceasing. However, it seemed to be unable to shake the palace at all. There was a powerful seal on the palace. No matter how the demonic tree attacked, it was unable to shake the palace in the slightest. What are you being arrogant for? You're just a prisoner trapped here. What's there to be arrogant about? Yang Hongwu said coldly. When I come out, it'll be the time of your death. After Yang Hongwu finished speaking, he ignored the demon tree and entered the palace with Yun Bufan. The ancient characters on the surface of this palace actually contained the mysterious power of the world. This was the aura of the source. Yang Hongwu had an impulse in his heart, an impulse to devour this power of the world. However, Yang Hongwu resisted the urge. If he was exposed now, he would be in big trouble. Moreover, Yang Hongwu was curious about the guy who had planted the seed of the Dharma Eye of Annihilation in Yun Bufan. Yun Bufan was related to Yun Bugue. Who was Yun Bugue? He was also an expert of the divine emperor realm. How could he allow others to plot against him? This made Yang Hongwu even more curious. It seemed that this matter was far more complicated than he had guessed. However, one thing was certain. Although Yun Bugue was strong, he was not as strong as the person who had planted the seed of the Dharma Eye of Annihilation in Yun Bufan. In other words, Yun Bugue might not have truly awakened. Or perhaps Yun Bugue had done on purpose. However, no matter what, he wanted to see what Yun Bugue was planning. The deity plane was huge. Although it was not a real great thousand world, it was not weak. Most importantly, the deity plane was related to the life seal. Since Yang Hongwu knew that the deity plane was closely related to the life seal and could be a part of the inner world of the life seal, he naturally would not let it go. Young master, thank you. You were the one who allowed me to find the old ancestors' place of inheritance, the divine palace of no return. If it wasn't for you, I'm afraid I wouldn't have been able to find this place and the old ancestors' place of inheritance. Yin Bufan looked at Yang Hongwu with gratitude. You don't have to Yin Bugue. Yang Hongwu waved his hand and said indifferently. In fact, even without me, you would have found this place to find this place. The ancestors. The Emperor's inheritance will be yours, because you're the only one who can inherit to you. You. Yang Hongwu was telling the truth. The truth was that God Emperor Bugue had long since devised a plan to prevent anyone from obtaining the legacy, except for the person he had chosen. Yang Hongwu was able to enter this place because of Yun Bugue's permission. If Yun Bugue had not agreed, it would not have been so easy for Yang Hongwu to enter this place. Of course, given Yang Hongwu's strength, there were no formations or prohibitions that could stop him. What a joke. He was a powerful array master himself, and he had the mysterious array-breaking pill and restriction-breaking pill. Mere arrays and restrictions were nothing in his eyes. Yin Bugue wanted to scheme against him. He had made the wrong decision. Master, this place is very dangerous. The restrictions are scary. Wait here and let me see the situation. Yin Bufan looked at Yang Hongwu and was worried. It's okay. Yang Hongwu smiled and did not mind. Mere restrictions are nothing to me. It's not a problem for me. Yin Bufan was happy when he heard this. But in the next moment, he trembled. Yang Hongwu saw this slight change, and he knew what was going on. This should be Yin Bugue's influence. Master, it's better to be careful. Yin Bufan continued. There's no harm in being careful. You're right. Yang Hongwu nodded and took a step forward. With this step, he stepped on a flaw in the restriction. The restriction in front of him was broken instantly. Yin Bufan was astonished to see this. Master, you're amazing. Yin Bufan praised. Master, there seems to be something over there. I'll go take a look, Yin Bufan said after a while. Okay, be careful. Yang Hongwu knew that the show was finally about to begin. There was a huge amount of willpower on the other side. Yang Hongwu knew that this should be part of Yin Bugue's plan. That should be Yin Bugue's inheritance, or rather, a part of his willpower. He left it here just for this day. Yang Hongwu knew that the entire ancient forest of no return, or rather, the Bonewood Forest, was a powerful instrument. TSK. That guy was really generous. This Bonewood Forest of no return, perhaps it shouldn't be called an instrument or a divine instrument. It should be called a demonic instrument or an evil instrument. Moreover, it was refined from a huge demonic tree. The willpower of the demonic tree was actually Yun Bugue's demonic consciousness. It was also the instrument's spirit. It could also be said that it was Yun Bugui's incarnation, the incarnation of demonic consciousness. This Yun Bugui was also a ruthless person. He refined an ancient demonic tree into a powerful demonic instrument. Moreover, he even opened up a small world. However, it wasn't easy for this small world to grow because it was a demonic instrument that was refined using a special method. It needed a special method to grow, and it needed to be watered with fresh blood. The pile of bones, the ancient forest, and the ancient mountain were all piled up with bones. After Yun Bufan entered, the entire ancient palace shook. It emitted a strong light, and a strong energy burst out, instantly enveloping Yang Hongwu and forming a huge prison, trapping Yang Hongwu within. Domineering prohibitions appeared. These prohibitions seemed to have been specially formed to trap Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu didn't make a move. These prohibitions could be easily broken by Yang Hongwu. However, Yang Hongwu didn't do so. Instead, he waited to see what Yun Bugui wanted to do. Yun Bugui's strength was indeed very strong. Before he completed his plan, Yang Hongwu wasn't his opponent, even if this wasn't Yun Bugui's original body. Since Yang Hongwu knew that Yun Bugui's strength had surpassed the monarch god realm, it was naturally impossible for this world to accept him. After all, he was too strong. His original body had surpassed the laws of this world. Hence, the heavenly way of this world couldn't possibly tolerate his existence in this world. Hence, this should only be his incarnation, a doppelganger. Its strength was far inferior to his original body. However, even so, Yang Hongwu wasn't his opponent. Hence, since he couldn't defeat him with brute force, he could only use his wits. Chapter 1465. Yun Bugui's fear. After a while, Yun Bufan came out. The current Yun Bufan was vastly different from the previous Yun Bufan. Their auras were not on the same level. One was in the sky, while the other was on the ground. The gap between them was huge. The current Yun Bufan was at least at the peak divine emperor realm. If his aura was stable, he would definitely be at the half-step divine emperor realm. His cultivation had increased so much in such a short time. It was definitely not because of the inheritance. Moreover, his aura was still unstable, and he could not wait any longer. Yang Hongwu could see that. If his plan did not succeed, Yang Hongwu would have run away. He would not dare to stay here. After all, Yun Bufan's cultivation was at the peak divine emperor realm. He was far from being a match for him. Knowing that he was not a match for Yun Bufan, he would be a fool to stay. Yang Hongwu was not a fool. Should I call you Yun Bufan now? Or Yun Bugui? Yang Hongwu looked at Yun Bufan, who was walking towards him step by step, and said calmly, "You're really smart." Yun Bufan looked at Yang Hongwu in surprise. "I didn't expect that you already knew about it. Why didn't you stop me?" Yun Bufan, no. Yun Bugui looked at Yang Hongwu. Although he was surprised, he did not care too much about it. Everything was within his calculations. This was his world. He was the real master here. No one could shake him. Moreover, Yang Hongwu's cultivation was only at the second level of the Great Emperor realm. No matter how powerful or monstrous he was, he would not be able to shake him. Although his cultivation had not stabilized, he was already at the peak divine emperor realm. He was only one step away from becoming a half-step divine emperor realm expert. A half-step divine emperor could kill a great emperor realm expert. Even a peak divine emperor realm expert could do so with a flick of his finger. In front of absolute strength, all schemes and tricks were useless. Therefore, Yun Bugui was not worried. He had the strength and confidence to do so. Perhaps Yang Hongwu knew his situation. He had already entered this place and knew that there was no way out. Hence, he didn't stop Yi Futian. Instead, he wanted to find a way out for himself. He wanted to submit to Yi Futian and become Yi Futian's subordinate, just like how Yi Futian accepted Yun Bufan. This was what Yun Bugui thought. After all, the possibility of this happening was very high. He knew that Yang Hongwu was a smart person. Speaking of which, he was indebted to Yang Hongwu. After all, it was Yun Bugui who had helped him resolve the crisis of the Dharma Eye of Annihilation. In fact, Yun Bugui had already sensed the danger of the Dharma Eye of Annihilation. It was not that he didn't want to erase the Dharma eye of annihilation, but that he had no way to do so. After all, he was just a clone and not his real body, so he didn't have the strength of his real body. Moreover, he could feel that the person who had planted the seed of the Dharma eye of annihilation in Yun Bufan was very strong, even stronger than his real body. If he used his real body's strength to remove the Dharma eye of annihilation, he was likely to confront that expert. At that time, his real body might be in great danger. This was something he didn't want to see, so he didn't do it for a long time. Originally, he had almost planned to give up on his physical body, but Yang Hongwu appeared and removed the seed of the Dharma eye of annihilation. How could he not be surprised? After all, he had been waiting for this physical body for many years. Finally, he had gotten it. Since he didn't need to give it up, how could he not be surprised? However, even though he owed Yang Hongwu a favor, Yang Hongwu knew too much. Moreover, there was a huge secret in Yang Hongwu's body. There was a powerful force that made Yi Shiwen want to peek at it. It was a kind of origin level that surpassed Yi Shiwen's original body. If Yi Shiwen could devour Yang Hongwu's body and pry into the secrets of Yang Hongwu's body and soul, then Yi Shiwen's strength would take a huge leap. It could even give his real body the hope of breaking through to the divine emperor realm. Therefore, no matter what, he would not let Yang Hongwu go, even if Yang Hongwu had done him a great favor. Stop! Yang Hongwu smiled and said, "Why should I stop you? You know how strong I am. Don't you regret it?" Yin Bugui was stunned at first. Then he chuckled and said, "Do you think I'm still the old Yin Bufan? Do you think I'll let you go? It's undeniable that you helped me and helped me solve the crisis of the Dharma eye of annihilation. But this is not a reason for me to let you go. You know too many secrets, so I can't let you go. You have to be clear about this. If you're naive enough to think that I'll let you go, then you're really too stupid." "Of course not." Yang Hongwu laughed and said, "I didn't stop you and let you successfully take over my body. Of course, I have my reasons. I'm not a fool. Of course, I have my reasons." "What do you mean by that?" Yin Bugui had a bad premonition, but he quickly put this thought aside. What a joke. What was his cultivation? He was an expert of the half-step divine emperor realm. His real body was a real divine emperor realm expert. He was incomparably powerful and had long surpassed the existence of the divine realm. A mere great emperor realm warrior was just an ant in his eyes. How could an ant shake a supreme divine emperor? This thought of his was completely superfluous. "You're just an ant. Do you expect the demon tree outside to deal with me?" Suddenly, Yin Bugui laughed and looked at Yang Hongwu. "I can let you know the reason before you die. In fact, the demon tree is also me." "I already knew." Yang Hongwu was still very calm, and there was no trace of emotion on his face. He was still so indifferent, as if he did not care about anything, as if everything was within his calculations. This look and expression made Yin Bugui very unhappy. He became a little irritable, and his heart became more and more restless. Yin Bugui suddenly felt a trace of fear in his heart. How could he feel fear? Facing a great emperor realm ant, he actually felt a trace of fear? Yin Bugui thought it was ridiculous, but it was true. Kill him, he must kill him. This person must not be left alive. He must not be allowed to live. He was too terrifying. He was just a great emperor realm warrior, but he could actually trigger his emotions. At this moment, Yin Bugui's killing intent exploded. Chapter 1466. The plot worked, it's time. Yang Hongwu chuckled and snapped his fingers. Yin Bugui, who had been so aggressive a moment ago and wanted to kill Yang Hongwu, was instantly discouraged. His aura instantly dropped to the lowest point. "What's going on?" Yin Bugui shouted. He did not understand what was going on. He realized that his cultivation level was dropping. "My cultivation level, my Dharma power. Little bastard, what have you done?" He was a half-step divine emperor expert, but his cultivation level dropped in an instant. He knew that his cultivation level was sealed and he could not use his Dharma power. However, how did Yang Hongwu do it? Yin Bugui was under his surveillance. He did not have the ability to set up all this. Moreover, Yang Hongwu was just a great emperor. How could he have schemed against him? How could he have sealed his cultivation level without him noticing? Was it a formation or an elixir? Or was it poison? No matter what it was, Yin Bugue had no chance. No one could have schemed against him. Not even a divine emperor expert, let alone Yang Hongwu, who was just a great emperor. However, it was a fact that his cultivation level had been sealed. How'd this brat do it? Aren't you arrogant? Didn't you want to kill me? Yang Hongwu looked at Yin Bugue and said coldly, "Why don't you kill one for me to see? Little bastard, don't be too arrogant. Do you really think that you can seal my mother completely?" Yin Bugue said coldly, "Let me tell you, I'm just an incarnation, and the same goes for the demonic tree. This world is actually a small world that has yet to be fully formed. It has yet to grow. This is my inner world, my territory. Even if you kill this incarnation of mine, you won't be able to do anything to me. If you know what's good for you, quickly release the shackles on my body and release my cultivation. Otherwise, you'll die a tragic death." "I'm so scared." Yang Hongwu laughed heartily. He did not take Yin Bugue's threats seriously at all. "Who do you think you are to threaten me?" Yang Hongwu had already guessed that this was a small world, but he had not expected it to be Yin Bugue's inner world. This surprised Yang Hongwu. Who was Yin Bugue? His strength was tyrannical. He was a godly emperor. Moreover, his cultivation level had already surpassed the initial godly emperor realm. How could his inner world be so weak? There was only one possibility. This inner world was, in fact, specially prepared by Yin Bugue for his incarnation. It was one of his escape routes. There was one point that Yang Hongwu was very clear about. For some powerful warriors, the stronger their cultivation, the longer they lived, and the more they cared about their own lives. The more they were afraid of death, the more they would leave an escape route for themselves. It was normal for them to leave behind a few incarnations. In the common people's continent, blood demon, heaven-killing sword demon, and so on, didn't each of them leave an escape route for themselves so that they could be reborn? For a super expert like Yin Bugue, how could he not leave behind such a trump card? Yang Hongwu knew that his incarnation should be the trump card that he valued the most. For this, he had paid a huge price and waited for so many years for this day to come. An inner world. TSK. Yang Hongwu finally understood that it was extremely difficult for other warriors to obtain an inner world. It was not easy at all. However, Yang Hongwu was different. It was much easier for Yang Hongwu to open up his own inner world than for others. Yang Hongwu could even directly plunder the inner worlds of other warriors and refine them for his own use. This was Yang Hongwu's special situation. It was different for others. Originally, Yang Hongwu did not have enough confidence in dealing with Yin Bugue. Even if Yang Hongwu had the Devouring Furnace, the Dragon Gate, the Destruction Heaven Palace, and other supreme treasures, he did not have full confidence in dealing with Yin Bugue. However, Yang Hongwu had also obtained another thing, which was the Dharma Eye of Annihilation. Yang Hongwu had obtained the Dharma Eye of Annihilation from Yin Bufan and had completely refined and integrated it. Although it had not truly transformed into the Dharma Eye of Annihilation and could not destroy some powerful worlds, it was fatal for Yin Bugue, who had just begun to grow and was like a baby. Yang Hongwu could easily destroy this small world and devour the power of this small world. The Bonewood of No Return, TSK. This was simply a blessed land for Yang Hongwu. Of course, if Yin Bugue had not possessed Yin Bufan, Yang Hongwu would not have had much confidence. However, Yin Bugue had done so and truly possessed Yin Bufan. This also gave Yang Hongwu an opportunity. Yang Hongwu had previously given Yin Bufan something. In fact, it was a formation disc, a very small formation disc that was very hidden. The moment Yin Bugue possessed Yin Bufan, the formation disc evolved and turned Yin Bufan's body into the eye of the formation, the core of the formation. This formation was the Great Spirit Sealing Formation. Yin Bugue and the demonic tree were one. The demonic tree was Yin Bugue, and Yin Bugue was the demonic tree. Since Yin Bugue had taken over Yin Bufan's body, Yin Bugue had become Yin Bufan, and Yin Bufan had become the eye of the formation. He was connected to the demonic tree's body, and the entire bonewood of no return was connected. The entire bonewood of no return had become a super large formation. As the eye of the formation, Yin Bugue, of course, was also controlled by Yang Hongwu. What a joke. If he could not control the formation that he had set up, it would be too embarrassing. Unless someone's attainment in formations surpassed Yang Hongwu, no one would be able to control the formation that he had set up. However, was this possible? The answer was obvious. Although Yin Bugue was strong and his original body was a divine emperor and his incarnation was also a half-step divine emperor, he was not a formation master, let alone a powerful one. After being schemed against by Yang Hongwu, how could he possibly escape? Unless his original body descended and broke the shackles with his vast power and broke Yang Hongwu's control over him. Everything else was just empty talk. However, was it realistic for his original body to descend? The cultivation of a divine emperor had already surpassed the rules of the divine domain. Once his original body descended, would he be able to bear the consequences? Chapter 1467. The light of destruction can't kill you? Haha, what a joke. Is this ancient forest of no return your trump card? Then I'll destroy this ancient forest of no return and your demonic tree incarnation. As for the original body, do you think I'm a fool? Can your original body come here? Because of the restrictions of the law of the divine realm, even if your original body comes here, it has to seal its cultivation. Once it's sealed, what do I have to fear? Yang Hongwu laughed loudly. Moreover, you don't even know where your original body is. If your original body can really come here directly, then when Yun Bufan was implanted with the seed of the Dharma Eye of Annihilation, you should have already come here. Unfortunately, your original body didn't do that. This is an incarnation that you spent a great deal of effort to cultivate, but you gave it up. So, there are only a few possibilities. Hearing Yang Hongwu's words, Yin Bugue's expression changed and became very ugly. It seems that my guess is correct. The first possibility is that your original body can't come here because of the restrictions of the law of the divine realm. The second possibility is that your original body can come here, but something happened to your original body, so you spent a great deal of effort to cultivate this incarnation. However, what you didn't expect was that this incarnation was fancied by a peerless expert and implanted with the seed of the Dharma Eye of Annihilation. This made you very helpless and frightened. The Dharma Eye of Annihilation needs to grow, and it needs a vast amount of energy. Even the entire divine realm will be destroyed, and it's even more difficult to keep your own pocket dimension, so your original body gave it up. When Yang Hongwu said this, Yin Bugue's face became as black as charcoal. It was extremely ugly. Yang Hongwu smiled and continued. It seems that I guessed right. It's the second possibility. TSK, I didn't expect that you would be abandoned by your original body and become an abandoned pawn. Yin Bugue looked coldly at Yang Hongwu and said, I have to admit that your way of thinking is really stupid and naive. Don't you know that when you reach the divine emperor realm, the connection between the incarnation and the original body can be felt no matter where it is? If I want to, I can summon my original body at any time. However, it's not necessary. Although I'm not my original body, my strength original body isn't something you can resist. You can seal me for a while, but it won't be for too long. You can't kill me, at most half a day. After half a day, I will. My cultivation will be restored, his original body. And I will be killed you. At this moment, Yin Bugue's face did not show any emotion. He was shocked. This lad was not simple. He could trigger his emotions and guess his thoughts based on his subtle emotions. He had to admit that this lad was a demonic genius. He was much stronger than those so-called peerless geniuses. Yang Hongwu was even smarter than those old foxes who had lived for countless years. Yang Hongwu had a terrifying aptitude and outstanding talent. More importantly, his wisdom was almost unparalleled. If such a person were to grow up, he would be absolutely terrifying. Restore my cultivation? Yang Hongwu laughed contemptuously and looked at Yin Bugue with a mocking expression. You still want to restore your cultivation? You must be dreaming. As for summoning your original body, that's even more impossible. If I'm not wrong, your original body is injured and is now recuperating. Moreover, In order to prevent your original body from being found, he has already sealed everything. It's impossible to find him. Before he recovers his cultivation, he can't come out. Today, you will definitely die. As for this small world, it will be transformed into my world source energy. Yang Hongwu moved. With a thought, a mark appeared between his eyebrows. That mark was a Dharma eye, the Dharma eye of annihilation. As soon as this aura appeared, Yin Bugue was stunned. His eyes were full of shock, disbelief, and even more fear. Yes, fear. You actually refined the Dharma eye of annihilation? He looked at Yang Hongwu, his hand trembling as he pointed at Yang Hongwu. Oh, Yang Hongwu was a lunatic, a complete lunatic. At first, Yin Bugue thought that the Dharma eye of annihilation had been destroyed by Yang Hongwu using a special method, the terrible devouring secret skill, and the Red Lotus Hellfire. After all, it was just an immature Dharma eye, and he could not do it himself. However, Yang Hongwu, who had the powerful divine fire, the Red Lotus Hellfire, could definitely do it. The Red Lotus Hellfire was extremely domineering, and the Dharma eye of annihilation, as soon as it was born, contained endless karma. This terrible karma was intolerable for the Red Lotus Hellfire. It was absolutely impossible for the Red Lotus Hellfire to coexist with the Dharma eye of annihilation. However, Yang Hongwu was able to coexist with the Red Lotus Hellfire, and he even refined the Dharma eye of annihilation. This impossible thing had been done by Yang Hongwu. If he had not seen it with his own eyes, he would never have believed it was true. Even now, he still had doubts. Impossible. This is fake. It must be fake. The Dharma eye of annihilation can't coexist with the Red Lotus Hellfire. You used a trick. Do you think you can fool me? You must be dreaming. When my cultivation recovers, it will be the time of your death. Yin Bugue gritted his teeth and stared at Yang Hongwu. Fake? Yang Hongwu snorted. The Dharma eye of annihilation completely erupted. As it opened, the light of annihilation appeared. Wherever the light of annihilation passed, the space began to collapse. Yang Hongwu had already isolated the entire ancient forest of no return. It was an isolation formation. The formation that Yang Hongwu had arranged was not only to seal Yin Bugue's cultivation and Dharma power, but also to isolate the will of Heavenly Way from the divine domain. Otherwise, the Dharma eye of annihilation would be sensed by the will of Heavenly Way, and everything he had done would be in vain. At that time, he would be rejected by the will of Heavenly Way, and a terrible divine punishment would come directly. With Yang Hongwu's current strength, he could not withstand the divine punishment of divine emperor level. Therefore, he had already made preparations. The formation that he had arranged was a compound formation. It could not only seal Yin Bugue's cultivation and Dharma power, but also isolate the will of Heavenly Way from the divine domain. At the same time that the Dharma eye of annihilation erupted with the light of annihilation, destroying this pocket world, Yang Hongwu also took out the devouring furnace and began to frantically devour and refine the world's origin power. When the small world was destroyed, countless karmic forces were generated. These karmic forces were devoured and refined by the fire lotus to increase its cultivation. To Yang Hongwu, this was killing many birds with one stone, killing many birds with one stone. Chapter 1468. Devouring the World. Increasing cultivation. While Yin Bugue's cultivation and Dharma power had been sealed, he was experienced and knowledgeable. Moreover, he could clearly sense that his small world, which was the forest of no return, was losing its power. It was the power of the world's origin that was constantly being devoured. His expression changed drastically. How is this possible? This is actually true? You lied to me? Yin Bugue stared at Yang Hongwu with wide eyes. Lied to you? Yang Hongwu was amused. This is a deal between me and Yin Bufan. I helped him to solve the crisis of the Dharma eye of annihilation and freed him from the Dharma eye of annihilation. This is a fair deal. Yin Bugue was furious. Although he had obtained a part of Yin Bufan's memory, it was not all. Moreover, he had not fully integrated with this body yet. Aren't you afraid that the expert will come? Yin Bugue asked. Would I be afraid? Yang Hongwu laughed. What a joke. If I was afraid, I wouldn't have snatched the seed of the Dharma eye of annihilation. You're courting death. That existence is someone even my true self fears. You're merely an ant at the great Emperor realm. How dare you challenge the prestige of a supreme expert? Do you know that you're courting death? Yin Bugue looked at Yang Hongwu and said, "If you let me go, I still have a chance to help you avoid that terrifying existence. Otherwise, you'll die. There's no chance at all. An expert at the peak of the divine Emperor realm may even be an existence that surpasses the divine Emperor realm. It's far beyond your imagination. So what? What does this have to do with you?" Yang Hongwu's tone was very calm. "Even if I can't defeat him, that's my business. You don't have to worry about it. Now, what you need to do is to contribute your Dharma power and the power of the entire forest of no return to provide the spiritual chi origin for my inner world. You have your own inner world. How dare you refine the Dharma eye of annihilation? Do you know that you're digging your own grave?" Seeing that Yang Hongwu was unwilling to let him off, Yin Bugue felt helpless and said loudly, "So long-winded." Yang Hongwu did not want to talk nonsense with him. He stretched out his hand and sealed Yin Bugue completely. Yang Hongwu did not want to cause any more trouble because he knew that Yin Bugue was stalling for time. Yin Bugue was indeed very strong. Even though his formation was powerful, Yin Bugue was not a weakling. Although it was just a clone, it was a half-step divine emperor. It was far beyond Yang Hongwu's strength. Therefore, Yang Hongwu's formation could not seal him for long. Therefore, Yang Hongwu had to completely devour the power of origin in the forest of no return before Yin Bugue broke the seal of the formation. Once the power of origin in the forest of no return was devoured, Yin Bugue's strength would be greatly reduced. Would he still be able to break the formation after his strength was reduced? He did not even need to think about it. After Yang Hongwu sealed Yin Bugue completely, he realized that his plan was useless. Yang Hongwu had seen through his plan and would not give him any chance. He could only rage in his heart and stare at Yang Hongwu. If looks could kill, Yang Hongwu would have died 100,000 times. Yang Hongwu did not care how Yin Bugue stared at him. Anyway, to Yang Hongwu, the power of origin was the most important thing. Everything else was meaningless. As long as he devoured enough of the world's origin energy, his inner world would be restored, and his cultivation would increase. Time passed by slowly. Yang Hongwu's refining speed was getting faster and faster. The inner world in his body was constantly recovering and growing. Although the space of the celestial pagoda had not been completely opened, Yang Hongwu had already sensed the situation in the celestial pagoda. Yang Hongwu was relieved that nothing unexpected had happened in the celestial pagoda. It was only because he had encountered the lightning tribulation that the celestial pagoda had been attacked and sealed. No living creatures in the space were harmed. Mao, and the others were safe and sound. However, Yang Hongwu still had no way to summon them out. Now, although the space of the celestial pagoda had been opened a little, Yang Hongwu's inner world had not been completely activated. Moreover, the space of the celestial pagoda had already merged with his inner world. Even the original common people's divine realm had been merged and became Yang Hongwu's inner world. It was the same for the witch world and the demon world. They had been completely merged. However, the common people's divine realm was only a part of the real common people's divine realm. This was because Yang Hongwu finally knew that the common people's great seal that he had obtained was only a part of the real common people's great seal and not the complete common people's great seal. Now, this world, this divine realm, and the common people's continent from before should be a part of the common people's divine realm. This world should also have a common people's great seal, or rather, a fragment of the common people's great seal. As long as he could obtain this fragment of the common people's great seal and then merge it with the common people's great seal that he had obtained, then his inner world would not only be fully restored, it would also be greatly enhanced. Therefore, Yang Hongwu couldn't wait to encounter more mini-worlds like the Forest of No Return. Of course, if the other party didn't intend to harm him, Yang Hongwu wouldn't be too embarrassed to make a move. After all, Yang Hongwu was not an unreasonable person, nor was he the kind of person who would willfully kill the innocent. Unless he had no other choice, Yang Hongwu would not do such things. Otherwise, Yang Hongwu would not attack others for no reason. Time passed quickly, and Yang Hongwu's cultivation had also increased. 3rd level Great Emperor Realm. 4th level Great Emperor Realm. When Yang Hongwu's cultivation reached the peak 4th level Great Emperor Realm, the entire Forest of No Return was almost completely destroyed by the world-exterminating light. The Forest of No Return had disappeared. Only a huge formation was left outside the Forest of No Return, covering the entire forest. The huge, ancient tree that originally covered the sky had also withered. Its leaves had withered, and the surrounding lush vegetation had also withered due to the loss of the origin energy of the world. Everywhere became a barren land. In the Forest of No Return, some of the ancient and powerful strange beasts seemed to have their strength sucked away and became dispirited. Yang Hongwu sighed. Chapter 1469. Wanting to keep a god slave, however, if he completely devoured the origin energy of this pocket dimension, all the living beings would die. This was something Yang Hongwu did not want to see. Now, after he had devoured most of the source energy, all the living beings in the ancient Forest of No Return seemed to have contracted a serious illness. In fact, Yang Hongwu knew that these living beings already had an inseparable connection with the ancient Forest of No Return. If the ancient Forest of No Return was damaged, these living beings would naturally not be spared and would suffer great damage. Yang Hongwu kept the devouring furnace and the Dharma eye of annihilation. He stopped devouring. Yang Hongwu thought to himself, leave a chance for survival. At this moment, Yin Bugui's aura was very weak. His cultivation was only at the early stage of the monarch god realm, and he was no longer as arrogant as before. His demonic tree incarnation had fallen into a deep sleep. If Yang Hongwu continued to attack, he would definitely die. He knew this very well. Although he was only an incarnation, as Yang Hongwu had said, his original body had given up on him and completely cut off the connection with him. Therefore, it could be said that he was now independent. Unless his original body could descend again, he would become an independent individual and would no longer be under the control of his original body. Because of this, he had developed an independent consciousness. He had already become an independent person. If he were to return to his original body and merge with it, he would not be willing to do so. That would be equivalent to him dying. Therefore, although he could pay a huge price to summon his original body, he was unwilling to do so. Moreover, as Yang Hongwu had said, since his original body had already cut off the connection with him, what could he do even if he asked for help? His original body might not descend again. He was already in despair and had given up. However, when he saw Yang Hongwu keeping the Dharma eye of annihilation, the devouring furnace, and the hellfire of the red lotus, he was overjoyed. This meant that he still had a chance to live. Otherwise, Yang Hongwu could devour him directly and destroy the entire ancient Forest of No Return. No matter what Yang Hongwu wanted, as long as there was a chance to live, it was enough. I can speak now. Yin Bugui was overjoyed. He realized that part of the seal on his body had been removed. He looked at Yang Hongwu. At this moment, it was impossible for him to not feel any resentment towards Yang Hongwu. After all, his great opportunity had been destroyed by Yang Hongwu. No one would believe that he was not angry or resentful if he were to say that he was not angry or resentful. However, he was a smart person. At this time, he would not foolishly go against Yang Hongwu. After all, he no longer had any trump cards to go against Yang Hongwu. At this moment, if he went against Yang Hongwu and angered him, only death would await him. What do you want? Yin Bugui looked at Yang Hongwu and took a deep breath. He suppressed the dissatisfaction and resentment in his heart and tried his best to humble himself. He looked at Yang Hongwu and said, "Say it. I'll do it as long as it's within my power." Not arrogant anymore, Yang Hongwu looked at Yin Bugui. Yin Bugui smiled bitterly and said, "Am I still qualified now? Can't you rely on your original body?" Yang Hongwu said, "I am only a great emperor, but your original body is in the divine emperor realm. Moreover, you have been in the divine emperor realm for many years. Your cultivation is far from what I can compare to. Your original body can easily crush me with a finger. You must be joking. Yin Bugue was depressed. He had already humbled himself and admitted defeat, but Yang Hongwu was still unwilling to forgive him. However, Yin Bugue did not dare to refute or get angry. If he really went against Yang Hongwu again, he would be the one at a disadvantage. He was not stupid. Although he was only an incarnation, he was still very smart. His intelligence was much higher than an ordinary warrior's. He was much smarter than an ordinary warrior. Previously, the reason why he went against Yang Hongwu was because he was confident in himself and had the dignity of a divine emperor expert. Therefore, he did not put Yang Hongwu in his eyes. After all, Yang Hongwu's cultivation was too weak. Even though he had a part of Yin Bufon's memory and knew that Yang Hongwu was very powerful, he was not willing to admit that Yang Hongwu was so powerful. However, now he had thoroughly experienced Yang Hongwu's strength. His cultivation had been greatly damaged because of Yang Hongwu. He had fallen from the half-step divine emperor realm to the early divine emperor realm. The difference was too great. If it was someone else, it would be worse than death. Now, Yin Bugue had completely thought it through. He was not the real Yin Bugue after all. He was just an incarnation of Yin Bugue. He had completely humbled himself and put down his dignity as a divine emperor expert. I can let you live and return the ancient forest of no return to you. Yang Hongwu looked at him and said, I will even find a way to help you recover your cultivation. What do you want? Yin Bugue looked at Yang Hongwu. He did not believe that Yang Hongwu was so generous that he would let him go without any conditions. Moreover, he would help him recover his cultivation. This was simply impossible. Now that his cultivation had fallen, it would not be easy to recover it. What he had lost was the world's origin energy. In order to recover the world's origin energy, he would have to pay a huge price. Submit to me, completely submit to me, and be my servant. Yang Hongwu looked at him and said coldly. In the deity domain, Yang Hongwu had a servant, Wang Yiming. Wang Yiming's aptitude was outstanding, but his strength was ultimately lacking and his status wasn't high. If one were to really calculate, Wang Yiming was even a level lower than Yin Bufon. Therefore, if Yang Hongwu wanted to control the deity domain, he needed to establish a huge force. However, establishing such a huge force wasn't an easy task. If he could make Yin Bugue submit to him, it would be much easier. Impossible. When Yin Bugue heard this, he immediately shook his head. What kind of joke was this? Although he was not the real Yin Bugue and was only his incarnation, it was absolutely impossible for him to become Yang Hongwu's servant and slave. Even if I die, I won't agree to it. Chapter 1470. Shenu Yun Bummy. I wonder if you've heard of the spirit enslavement divine technique? Yang Hongwu smiled faintly. Do you think you can resist it now? If you take the initiative to open your mind, you can suffer less. However, if you don't know what's good for you, then the one who will suffer will be you. Upon hearing Yang Hongwu's words, Yin Bugue's expression turned extremely ugly. You. Ordinary people hadn't heard of the spiritual enslavement godly technique, but he was a godly emperor. How could he not have heard of it? That divine technique was specially created to enslave strong cultivators. It could even enslave divine emperors. It was terrifying. It was even more terrifying than the Buddhist sect's purification technique. Once someone was affected by the spirit enslavement divine technique, even their enemies would change. They would not have the slightest bit of resentment towards their master. They would not even have the slightest suspicion towards their master. Moreover, this was not like the puppet technique, which could completely retain the spiritual slave's consciousness. It could even increase the spiritual slave's aptitude and cultivation. This was the most terrifying part. However, this divine art had long been lost. However, Yang Hongwu's words did not seem to be a lie. Furthermore, at their level, they disdained a lie. Furthermore, if it were other secret techniques, there would be no loss to him. Ordinary enslavement techniques. Unless the person's cultivation was on par with his, or higher than his, the enslavement techniques would not be of much use. What's more, Yang Hongwu had no reason to lie to him, because it was meaningless. How is it? Do you want to let go of your mind? Or do you want me to forcibly plant the spirit's servitude divine spell on you and make you my servant? Yang Hongwu looked at him and waited for Yun Bugue to make a decision. You've won. Yun Bugue looked like a frosted eggplant. He had completely lost his will to fight. Yang Hongwu nodded with satisfaction. With a thought, he used the spiritual servitude divine technique, which turned into a mark and entered Yun Bugue's soul. Because Yang Hongwu had already used the spiritual slave divine technique once, it was much easier for him to use the spiritual slave divine technique this time. Yang Hongwu could clearly feel Yun Bugue's will after he had planted the spiritual slave divine technique. If Yang Hongwu wanted to, he could easily destroy Yun Bugue. Of course, this referred to Yun Bugue and not the divine Emperor Yun Bugue. Master, you'll be called Yun Bummy from now on. Don't call yourself Yun Bugue. Yang Hongwu thought for a while and said, also, you should return this physical body to Yun Bufan. I think you should be able to do this. Yes, Master. Yun Bugue, or rather, Yun Bummy, did not have any will to resist Yang Hongwu's words. He completely obeyed Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu's words were his will and his greatest command. He would not hesitate even if Yang Hongwu asked him to die. Very soon, Yun Bummy left Yun Bufan's physical body. This way, although Yun Bummy would be injured to a certain extent, it would not cause too much damage. Yun Bummy appeared in front of Yang Hongwu in his soul form. He was very respectful. He did not dare move until Yang Hongwu said something. Return to your demonic tree incarnation and completely merge with it, Yang Hongwu said. Yun Bummy nodded and said, yes, Master. After saying that, Yun Bummy turned into a ray of white light and instantly entered the towering demonic tree. At this time, Yun Bufan slowly woke up. There were still some memories in his mind. Looking at Yang Hongwu, Yun Bufan was very embarrassed. He felt that he had let Yang Hongwu down. Yang Hongwu had figured out that Yun Bufan was really a little bit. How should he put it? He had a bit of a saintly character and was commonly known as a good person. Master, I'm really sorry. I couldn't control myself. You don't have to be like this. In fact, you also know that it was I who seized your Dharma Eye of Annihilation. The Dharma Eye of Annihilation is very powerful. I only attacked you because I coveted it, Yang Hongwu said. No. Yun Bufan shook his head and said, Master, you don't have to say that. Although the Dharma Eye of Annihilation is powerful, it is not something that I can possess. I also know that the Dharma Eye of Annihilation was planted by a great expert. His strength is even greater than my ancestor, Emperor Bugue. I'm just a chess piece. Whether it is that great expert or my ancestor, I am just a chess piece. Master, you have saved my lifetime and time again. If it weren't for your help, I'm afraid that I would have vanished into thin air by now. In that case, I won't say more. However, I have taken your ancestor's incarnation as my servant. Yang Hongwu hesitated for a moment. Indeed, he had taken his ancestor's incarnation as his servant. He reckoned that Yun Bufan did not feel good about it, so he stopped halfway through his sentence. Hearing this, Yun Bufan smiled bitterly in his heart. After all, the incarnation of Emperor Bugue was equivalent to Emperor Bugue. Now that he had been taken in by Yang Hongwu as his servant, it would not look good if word got out. It was impossible to say that he did not have any thoughts about it. Master, if it's possible, I hope that you won't spread this matter. After all, he is the ancestor of our Yun family. If word gets out, it will have a bad impact on our Yun family. Yun Bufan looked at Yang Hongwu with a hint of pleading in his voice. Don't worry. Yang Hongwu sighed and said, I have said that this time I will not stay in this world for too long. It was an accident that I came here. I still have to return to the lower world. Before my cultivation level is completely raised, I will not return. There were some things that Yang Hongwu would not say out loud. Although he would not return to the deity domain in a short period of time, Yun Bummy wanted to help him take control of the Yun family and even the entire divine palace of common life. Master, grandfather should have already prepared the transmission channel. You can return to the common life continent at any time. Yin Bufan looked at Yang Hongwu and said, "That's great. Now that you have obtained the inheritance that you wanted, you should be able to become the greatest hero of the Yun family. Oh, by the way, your ancestor is no longer called Yun Bugue, but Yun Bummy. He will return with you first. I need you and him to help me establish a force in the deity domain. I hope that the next time I return, you will have completed the task that I have given you." Yang Hongwu said. Chapter 1471. Yin family's plea for help. I can't wait that long. Now that 3 days have passed, I still have many things to do in the lower realm. I don't want to delay for too long. Yang Hongwu said. After being sent to the deity domain by the will of the heavens of the mortal continent, Yang Hongwu was still very depressed. He was very worried about the matters of the mortal continent. After all, he had not found a fragment of the mortal continent's great seal and had not completely controlled the mortal continent. In addition, he had not found the women. Moreover, he had a feeling that there should be 2 more women in the mortal continent. In fact, this was also because he had just refined the origin energy of the world in the ancient forest of no return, and his divine sense had increased. Yang Hongwu was pleasantly surprised to find that there were a few auras in his inner world. Only the deity domain was too vast, and he had no way to sense them. However, to Yang Hongwu, this was a great thing. Moreover, there was another reason why Yang Hongwu was in a hurry to return. It was because of the mortal continent's great seal. The will of the heavens of the mortal continent had schemed against Yang Hongwu. If this karma was not settled, the thoughts in his heart would not be clear. As for the matters of the deity domain, he would have to wait until he had completely controlled the mortal continent. Since young master is in such a hurry, let's go out, Yin Bufan said. Yun Bummy. After Yang Hongwu nodded, he called out. Yun Bummy turned into a human figure and appeared in front of Yang Hongwu. Master, send us out, Yang Hongwu said. Yes, master. The ancient forest of no return was Yun Bummy's inner world. Therefore, Yun Bummy could easily send people out. Now, because of Yang Hongwu, Yun Bummy had completely severed his karma with the divine emperor of no return, so he was no longer under Yun Bugue's control. In fact, if Yun Bugue's incarnation still had a connection with Yun Bummy, Yang Hongwu would be very happy to see that. If that was the case, Yang Hongwu's spiritual slave divine skill could still affect Yun Bugue. TSK, if that was the case, it would be fun. When he met Yun Bugue again, he could take the opportunity to subdue Yun Bugue and make him his spiritual slave. Of course, this was just a thought, and the possibility was not high. As soon as he finished speaking, Yang Hongwu and Yun Bufan felt a power envelop them. In the next moment, this power teleported them away. A breath later, Yang Hongwu and Yun Bufan appeared outside the ancient forest of no return. After coming out of the ancient forest of no return, Yun Bufan's aura continued to rise, and so did his cultivation. 2nd level Divine Monarch Realm. 3rd level Divine Monarch Realm. Suddenly, Yun Bufan's cultivation rose to the 4th level Divine Monarch Realm. My cultivation. Yun Bufan was pleasantly surprised. He didn't expect that after exiting the ancient forest of no return, his cultivation base would rise by several levels. Moreover, he had a feeling that as long as he had enough spiritual chi, his cultivation base could still break through. If he was given a divine pill, his cultivation base could even directly rise to the late Divine Monarch Realm. He might even be able to break through to the peak Divine Monarch Realm. Seeing Yun Bufan's cultivation rise, Yang Hongwu was a little envious. This kid was simply too lucky. At this moment, Yun Bufan's cultivation path could be said to have no bottlenecks before reaching the Divine Emperor Realm. He could reach the peak Divine Monarch Realm without any pressure. He could even break through to the half-step Divine Emperor Realm without too much pressure. However, it would not be easy to break through the bottleneck of the Divine Emperor Realm and enter the Divine Emperor Realm. Of course, Yang Hongwu was envious of this. He was only at the 4th level Great Emperor Realm now. It would be a huge problem for him to break through the bottleneck and enter the invincible Great Emperor Realm. although his strength had already surpassed the Great Emperor realm, the invincible Great Emperor realm was nothing in front of him. Even a Tai true God realm expert could be easily killed by him. Yang Hongwu could even fight against a divine monarch realm expert. Yang Hongwu could even kill a divine monarch realm expert if he used a special secret technique or the formation Dao. However, it was too difficult for him to raise his cultivation level. Although he was already at the Great Emperor realm, it was still far away for him to break through the Great Emperor realm and become a Tai true God realm expert. Of course, if he were to break through and reach the Tai true God realm, he would be invincible in the initial stage of the divine monarch realm, or even the middle stage of the divine monarch realm. However, Yang Hongwu was very clear that it would be harder for him to break through to the Tai true God realm than for others to break through to the divine emperor realm. It could even be compared to others breaking through the bottleneck of the peak divine emperor realm and entering the higher realm. This was the reason why it was so difficult for Yang Hongwu to raise his cultivation level. Once he succeeded in breaking through, his fighting strength would become extremely powerful. This was also Yang Hongwu's guess. In fact, after reaching the Divine Lord realm, there was a huge gap between each level. Yun Bufon's original cultivation base wasn't even at the Divine Lord realm. However, he had already reached the 4th level of the Divine Lord realm. Where could one find such benefits? Therefore, this was what Yang Hongwu was envious of. Others could advance by leaps and bounds easily. It was even faster than taking a plane. It could be said that Yun Bufon was already among the top experts in the deity plane. One had to know, in the Divine Realm, Divine Lord Realm powerhouses were all overlords who dominated a region. And how old was Yun Bufon? Master, let's go to the Yun family. Yun Bufon said to Yang Hongwu after stabilizing his cultivation level. Yang Hongwu nodded. Yang Hongwu and Yun Bufon rushed towards the Yun family. As for Yun Bumi, because Yang Hongwu had devoured the origin energy of the Forest of No Return, what he needed to do now was to restore the origin energy of the Forest of No Return and restore his cultivation level. The two of them had not gone far when Yun Bufon's face changed. A huge signal had appeared in the direction of the Yun family. It's the Yun family's distress signal. Yun Bufon was very anxious. This distress signal was a very special signal. It would only be sent out when a Yun family had no other choice. This was because the moment this signal was sent out, almost the entire common people's deity plane would be able to see it. The messaging talisman did not have such an effect. The messaging talisman could only transmit a signal by itself. Once this signal was sent out, everyone would be able to see it. Chapter 1472. Cauldron grabbing. If that's the case, let's go quickly, Yang Hongwu said. The two of them hurried over, and in a short while, they arrived at the Yun family. At this moment, the Yun family was in a mess. The ancient courtyards were destroyed, and there were flames everywhere. Corpses were everywhere, and blood flowed like a river. Looking at the scene, the murderous intent in Yun Bufon's eyes surged. Yun Bufon's strength couldn't be compared to before. If it was before, Yun Bufon was just a Tai true god. Even if he joined the battle, there wouldn't be much of a change. However, it was different now. Yun Bufon's cultivation had broken through to the Sir God realm. Sir God realm and Tai true God realm weren't on the same level. A Sir God realm expert could easily kill hundreds of Tai true God realm warriors. This was also the reason why if a family or a force had a Sir God realm expert, their status would rise by leaps and bounds, and they would become an overlord in the divine domain. In the common people divine domain, other than the common people divine palace, which had a Sir God realm expert, the strongest family was only a false Sir God. Their strength couldn't be compared to a real Sir God realm expert. However, even if they were false Sir Gods, their strength wasn't something a Tai true God realm warrior or even a half-step Sir God realm warrior could compare to. The gap was too big. The gap between them was like heaven and earth. Yin Song, how are you? Yun Bufon saw a disciple who wasn't dead yet and quickly helped him up. He fed him an elixir pill, and a majestic power woke him up. Young master, hurry up and leave. Young lord, you've returned. Quick, young lord, leave this place quickly. It's the Liao family's people. Now, a god monarch realm expert has appeared in the Liao family. His strength is incomparably strong. Even the old master isn't a match for him. Young lord, you have to leave this place quickly. Once young lord breaks through to the god monarch realm, he will come and take revenge for us. Liao family. Is it really the Liao family? Yin Bufan didn't move, and his face was gloomy. At this moment, a terrifying murderous intent exploded from his body, and the surrounding air instantly dropped as though it was freezing. Young master, hurry up and leave. It'll be too late. When Yin Song saw this scene, he was extremely anxious. This young master was really something. Even at this critical moment, he still did not know to leave. Could it be that he wanted to die? Yin Song panicked and shouted loudly, "Young master, leave quickly. Leave this place quickly. Do you want everyone to die with grievances? Do you want the Yin family to be completely exterminated? Yin Song, you don't have to worry. I won't send myself to my death. Now that I've obtained the inheritance of the old ancestor, my cultivation base has already broken through to the monarch god realm. Therefore, you don't have to worry. I like to see how the Liao family dares to touch our Yin family. Today, I'll annihilate the Liao family." As he spoke, Yin Bufan stood up and walked forward. Of course, he also apologized to Yang Hongwu. "Young master, I'll be leaving first." "Go." Yang Hongwu nodded his head. He could understand Yin Bufan's thoughts regarding this matter. His family was about to be exterminated. It would be strange if he wasn't angry. Yang Hongwu was also curious about the Liao family. Now, the Yin family could be said to be the first force in the common people's divine realm. This was his strength. If it was destroyed by the Liao family, then the Liao family's sin would be unforgivable. Soon, Yin Bufan disappeared from his original position. Yang Hongwu could clearly sense Yin Bufan's position. Therefore, he wasn't anxious. You, why didn't you stop the young master?" Seeing Yin Bufan walking inside, Yin Song was furious. He looked at Yang Hongwu with dissatisfaction. In his eyes, the young master Yin Bugue had outstanding talent. However, he was only at the Tai true god realm previously. Breaking through to the monarch god realm? This was simply a joke. How could the monarch god realm be broken through so easily? If it was really that easy, then there wouldn't only be a few monarch god experts in the common people's divine realm. How many years had it been? The Yin family had never produced a monarch god expert. Even the old master, who had outstanding talent, had already reached the half-step monarch god realm countless years ago. However, he hadn't truly become a monarch god expert. Instead, he had paid a huge price to obtain a divine elixir that allowed him to become a pseudo-monarch god expert. Why should I stop him? Yang Hongwu asked in return. Aren't you sending the young master to his death? You are really. If something happens to the young master, you are simply committing a heinous crime that cannot be forgiven. Yin Song pointed at Yang Hongwu and scolded angrily. I'm not a member of the Yin family. Yang Hongwu said indifferently. He is the young master of the Yin family, and not my young master. What do I have to worry about? Even if he dies, it has nothing to do with me. If there is anything, it is just that I have lost a talented subordinate. Moreover, if he wasn't confident and went to his death, he wouldn't have judged the situation and sized up the situation. Such a subordinate, a servant, is useless to me. If he dies, then he dies. I don't want him to be a disgrace to me in the future. Hearing Yang Hongwu's words, Yin Song was even more enraged. Looking at Yang Hongwu, his eyes were filled with killing intent. He stared at Yang Hongwu and said angrily, "What did you say? Do you know what you're saying? The young master is the successor of the Yin family. His position is high above. You actually said that the young master is your subordinate, your servant? Do you know that you deserve to die 10,000 times? If you say another word, I will kill you today." If it wasn't for the fact that he came with the young master and their relationship wasn't bad, Yin Song really would have directly attacked and killed him based on what he said just now. You? Yang Hongwu sneered. You are just a warrior in the Tai true god realm. Moreover, your body is already old and your bones are already old. How dare you be so arrogant? You are courting death. Yin Song was completely enraged. Although he was quite old, he still had a long lifespan. In fact, he was only in his prime. He didn't expect that Yang Hongwu, a great Emperor Realm warrior, would look down on him. How could he not be angry? The furious Yun Song threw a punch at Yang Hongwu. Too slow. Yang Hongwu's figure flashed and easily avoided Yun Song's attack. In the distance, there were a lot of chaotic voices. A person shouted, "Here, there are 2 fish that escaped the net. Capture them and send them to the mine as slaves." Another voice said, Chapter 1473. Karmic Fire Deterrence. Yang Hongwu was enraged. Who are these people? How dare they kidnap me and use me as a cauldron? This is unforgivable. Liao Clan. Before Yang Hongwu could say anything, Yin Song, who was standing at the side, suddenly burst out with hatred. The murderous aura on his body became more intense, and the battle blade in his hand was held tightly. "Kid, you should leave quickly. I will block them. Remember, go and inform the young master to leave this place." After saying that, Yun Song rushed towards those people, unafraid of death. When Yang Hongwu saw this, he sighed. Yang Hongwu did not care about them at all. As for Yun Song, his cultivation was not high, but he was still a loyal servant. It would be a pity if such a person died. After all, the Yun family would become his own force sooner or later. Yun Song could be considered a talent. If he died like this, it would really be a pity. Fine, I will save his life. The lady in red looked at Yun Song with disdain and said, "Since he doesn't know what's good for him, kill him. As for that young kid, don't hurt him." "Yes, Miss Hong Yi." A few people hurriedly nodded in response, and one of them went up to Yun Song. "Leave that gigolo to me," a man with a face full of stubble said. "He's just an ant in the Emperor realm. There is no need for so many people. I can easily capture him." Looking at the bearded man walking towards him, Yang Hongwu smiled faintly, his face full of mockery. This guy actually looked down on him and called him an ant. What a joke. "Gigolo, are you going to surrender yourself, or do you want me to do it?" "Let me tell you, if you want me to do it, you will suffer. Although, Miss Hong, you did not allow me to hurt you, I can still make you suffer." The bearded man said, "Kill yourself." Yang Hongwu said, "How dare you?" The bearded man was so angry that he laughed. This kid actually dared to talk to him like that. He was courting death. How dare a mere level 4 great Emperor realm martial artist talk to a late primordial true god like him? How dare he speak to him in such a manner? "Brat, I gave you face, but you don't want it. Come over here." As he spoke, the bearded man grabbed at Yang Hongwu with his big hand. His powerful strength and domineering chi swept up the dust on the ground. "Old Luo, don't hurt him." Hongya, who was watching from afar, frowned and reminded her. If she could hand over such a good cultivation vessel to Ancestor Hongya, she would definitely be rewarded handsomely. Moreover, she thought that the man was not bad. If his aptitude was really good, he could also be her cultivation vessel. Her cultivation had reached a limit, and it was time for her to use a cultivation vessel to cultivate. Although this man's cultivation was a little weak, he looked very pleasing to the eye. Moreover, Hong Yi felt a very attractive aura from him. Therefore, if it was possible, this cauldron would be his. No matter what, he could not afford to get hurt again. "Humph, you're digging your own grave." Yang Hongwu looked at the bearded man's big hand and snorted coldly. A ball of flame condensed and fell on his right hand. In the next moment, the bearded man screamed in agony. The flame burned and entered his body in an instant. What kind of flame is this? It's so painful, so painful. The bearded man's voice was incomparably miserable. His entire body was rolling on the ground continuously. "Cut off your arm." "Kacha." The bearded man did not hesitate and immediately cut off his right arm. However, it was all in vain. The flame seemed to have a life of its own. Once it touched him, it was bound to him. After cutting off his arm, the flame flew out and entered the bearded man's body again. Karma started to burn. His body was burning, and even his soul was burning. This is the karma fire of the Red Lotus. Oh my God, this is the legendary karma fire of the Red Lotus. A man in purple screamed. Is it really the karma fire of the Red Lotus? Hong Yi saw that the flame on the bearded man's body could not be extinguished. Moreover, the karma was burning. She knew that the karma fire of the Red Lotus was most likely the case. Back off, back off. If you're touched by the karma fire of the Red Lotus, you will definitely die. Miss Hongyi, what should we do now? This kid has the karma fire of the Red Lotus. He is not someone we can deal with. They knew that the karma fire of the Red Lotus would not cause any harm to a person without karma. However, they had killed countless people. How could they not have karma? They did not know how much blood they had on their bodies. Up until now, there were at least a few thousand people who had died in their hands. His cultivation is very weak. Even if he has the karma fire of the Red Lotus, he will not be able to hold on for long. Moreover, the karma fire of the Red Lotus is a supreme divine fire. We cannot let him go, Hong Yi said coldly. She looked at Yang Hongwu with even sharper eyes. Initially, she thought that he was just a talented kid. However, she did not expect him to have the karma fire of the Red Lotus. In this case, she could not use the usual method to deal with him. She could not treat him as a cauldron. If he could subdue him, that would be the best. The karma fire of the Red Lotus was a supreme, divine fire. With the help of the fire of the Red Lotus, one could burn karma. If one's strength reached a certain level, he could help others to remove karma. This was a great thing for her. Her cultivation had already reached the peak of the Tai, true God realm. She was only a step away from entering the half-step God realm. Then, she would be able to break through to the Lord God realm. And from the half-step Divine Lord realm to the Divine Lord realm, the heavenly tribulation was extremely ferocious. It wasn't something that the average person could withstand. This was especially true for those who had killed countless people and cultivated special cultivation methods. Their heavenly tribulation was much more terrifying than the average person's. In the world, there were countless cultivation skills. However, they could be divided into two schools. The first type of cultivation method was relatively slow in cultivation. Although the progress was slow, the subsequent heavenly tribulations would be much weaker. The other type of cultivation method was very domineering. The cultivation speed was also very fast. However, once this type of cultivation method reached a bottleneck, the heavenly tribulations that would be triggered would be much more terrifying. The cultivation skill that everyone in old ancestor Hong Ye's lineage cultivated belonged to the latter. This was because of karma. They had killed too many people, so they had accumulated a lot of karma. It was precisely because of the heavy karma that the heavens test that they would encounter would be even more terrifying. Chapter 1474. The art of spear throwing, however, it would be different if one could control the karmic fire of the Red Lotus. The karmic fire of the Red Lotus could eliminate karma, but it would only work if one had complete control over the karmic fire of the Red Lotus. Ordinary people would not be able to come into contact with it, or even get close to it. Once someone with karma touched the karmic fire of the Red Lotus, it would be a dead end. Of course, if the karmic fire of the Red Lotus was controlled by someone, it would be different. He could control the karmic fire of the Red Lotus to eliminate karma. Once the karma was eliminated, the power of the heavenly tribulation would be greatly reduced during the breakthrough. That way, the breakthrough would be less dangerous. Therefore, the current Yang Hongwu was no longer as valuable as he used to be as a human cauldron. They had to rope him in. Stop! Hong Yi waved her hand. At this moment, everyone stopped moving. Yun Song, who was being besieged in the distance, was stunned. He didn't understand why the people besieging him had stopped. Could it be that something had happened? Why are you still here? When he saw that Yang Hongwu was still standing at the same spot, he was furious. Although he hated this brat, he was still someone who had a good relationship with his young master. Moreover, when he left, he could pass a message to his young master. However, this bastard did not listen to him. It was infuriating. Who are you? Hong Yi stared at Yang Hongwu. Do you know who we are? I only know that you are my enemy now. Yang Hongwu said coldly. Enemy? I don't have any enemies. Hong Yi said. In this world, there are no eternal enemies or eternal friends. There are only benefits. Moreover, if we become enemies, it won't be good for either of us. Moreover, do you think that you can deal with so many of us alone? There are times when you know that you can't win, but you still fight to the death. This is a very irrational action. I think that you are a smart person. You won't do something so stupid. Don't believe them. They're all scoundrels, people with ulcers on the top of their heads and rotten feet. None of them are good people, especially that old ancestor Hong Xian. He is a devil through and through. God knows how many atrocities he has committed. This time, he joined forces with the Liao clan to attack our Yun clan in order to seize our divine techniques and divine source load. Before Yang Hongwu could say anything, Yin Song spoke first. Do you really think I don't dare to kill you? Hong Yu was also furious. This bastard actually dared to say such things about them, especially Hong Yu herself. She was a great beauty, but now she was said to have ulcers on the top of her head and pus on the bottom of her feet. How could she not be angry? She waved her right hand, and a ray of red light shot towards Yin Song. It was so fast that it made people speechless. Although Yin Song's cultivation was not bad, he was still far behind Hong Yi. He was not her opponent at all. He could not even dodge it. He could only watch as the ray of red light shot towards him. He could only wait for his death. Oomph! Yang Hongwu snorted. With a wave of his hand, he condensed a magical power and caught the red light in his hand. You dare to kill in front of me. Do you think I don't exist? Yang Hongwu opened his hand and saw a red leaf in his palm. Yang Hongwu was also shocked. He did not expect Hong Yi's strength to be so powerful. Her combat strength was probably far beyond the martial artists of the same realm. He had to admit that Hong Yi was also a genius. If she was given the right opportunity, she might not be any weaker than Yin Bufan. Unfortunately, Yang Hongwu did not like this woman. Although she was a beautiful woman, she wanted to use him as a cultivation vessel. This made Yang Hongwu especially disgusted. What a powerful cultivation. Yin Song regained his senses after a while. He thought that he was dead for sure. He did not expect that he would be saved by someone he looked down on. He took a deep breath and looked at Yang Hongwu. Thank you. A red leaf can also kill. Your strength is not bad. However, you're not qualified to make a deal with me, Yang Hongwu said coldly. Moreover, the Yin family is under my protection now. You should leave quickly. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite and killing you. What a big tone. You are courting death. A martial artist was enraged. This great Emperor realm martial artist thought that he could be so arrogant just because he took a blow from Miss Hong Yi. This martial artist was very young and his strength was not bad. His aptitude was not bad either. He had a good status in front of old ancestor Hong Xian. He had been pursuing Hong Yi all this time. He did not expect that Yang Hongwu would not put Hong Yi in his eyes. He was furious. Moreover, he thought that it was time for him to show off. As long as he captured this brat, not only would he be recognized by old ancestor Hong Xian in the future, but he would also be able to gain Hong Ye's favor. Therefore, he made his move. The long spear in his hand danced and turned into a ray of red light, locking onto Yang Hongwu. He knew that Yang Hongwu had the karmic fire of the Red Lotus. Therefore, he used a long-range spear technique, the spear-throwing technique. The long spear turned into a ray of light and shot out instantly. Its target was Yang Hongwu's shoulder. He did not want to kill Yang Hongwu. After all, Hong Yi had said that she wanted to capture him alive and use him as old ancestor Hong Xian's cultivation vessel. He could not kill him. Be careful. This is the spear-throwing technique. It's very powerful. Seeing this, Yin Song was anxious and quickly reminded. Yang Hongwu snorted coldly. You overestimate yourself. Yang Hongwu did not care at all. The spear-throwing technique was just a piece of cake. If it was Hong Yi who attacked, Yang Hongwu might be a little wary. However, Yang Hongwu did not care about this brat at all. Although this brat's cultivation was at the late Tai true god realm, his combat strength was incomparable to Hong Ye's. Destroy Heaven Palace, suppress. Yang Hongwu shouted and a huge palace appeared, instantly suppressing the long spear. Seeing this, Hong Ye's people were stunned. Iwang's spear was suppressed so easily. Iwang's long spear was not simple. It was a top-grade true treasure that was extremely precious. Iwang had paid a huge price to obtain it in an ancient ruin. This true treasure was extremely overbearing. Countless martial artists had died under this spear. However, no one had expected that it would be suppressed by an inconspicuous palace. Chapter 1475. Devouring Spear, Devouring Furnace. After Yang Hongwu suppressed the spear, he didn't hesitate and opened the devouring furnace. The spear was instantly sent into the devouring furnace. A true treasure like this was extremely rare. Yang Hongwu had never let the devouring furnace devour a true treasure before. Hence, he wanted to see how long it would take for the devouring furnace to devour a true treasure. Moreover, Yang Hongwu was already on the verge of a breakthrough. After devouring the true treasure, his cultivation would be able to break through to the 5th level of the Great Emperor realm. Hence, Yang Hongwu did not feel that it was a pity for such a treasure to be devoured. After all, it was only a true treasure. Moreover, it did not belong to Yang Hongwu. Among his women, none of them specialized in spear arts. Moreover, none of them were compatible with the spear. Yang Hongwu did not mind devouring the spear. As for Yang Hongwu himself, he already had a spear. It was a growth-type spear. However, Yang Hongwu rarely used it. After all, he did not specialize in spear arts. Devour. Yang Hongwu circulated his cultivation technique, and the devouring furnace was activated. The karmic fire of the red lotus was added into the furnace. In a few breaths' time, the spear began to melt and disappear. Seeing this scene, everyone present was stunned. What kind of cultivation technique was this? This was simply too terrifying. It could devour a true treasure. This was simply too powerful. It was unbelievable. At this moment, the person who was the most shocked was Yiwang. The spear was his natal true treasure. Now, it was being devoured by someone else. How could he not be shocked and angry? He spat out a mouthful of blood. After Yang Hongwu suppressed the spear and threw it into the devouring furnace, he lost contact with the spear. At this moment, before he could do anything, a part of his spear had already melted. My spear, you little bastard. You're courting death. I'm going to kill you. The enraged Yiwang had gone mad. His eyes were bloodshot as he rushed towards Yang Hongwu. One had to know that his treasured spear was his foundation. It was his life. How could he accept that his treasured spear had been snatched away and devoured by someone else? In an instant, he lost his mind and became crazy. At this moment, he had already thrown everything aside. He could not hurt Yang Hongwu, could not kill Yang Hongwu. He did not care about anything else. Old ancestor Hong Xian, young mistress Hong Yi, none of them mattered anymore. At this moment, there was only a single thought in his mind, and that was to kill Yang Hongwu and tear him to shreds. Die for me. The raging Yiwang threw a punch at Yang Hongwu. This punch contained all of his power. Previously, he had only used a portion of his power when he threw the spear, which was less than 50% of his power. This time, he had used 120% of his power in his fury. Yiwang, don't you dare! Hong Yi shouted, wanting to stop him. After all, she did not want to see Yang Hongwu die like this. He was the only person she had ever seen who possessed the karmic fire of the Red Lotus. If she wanted to break through and become a divine monarch, or even a divine emperor, she needed Yang Hongwu's help. Seeing Yiwang attacking Yang Hongwu recklessly, Hong Yi was enraged. She waved her right hand, and rays of red light shot out, forming a huge circle and trapping Yiwang. However, to everyone's surprise, Yiwang's cultivation level had broken through and his strength had increased tremendously. Furthermore, at this moment, he was actually using a secret technique to kill Yang Hongwu. In his haste, Hong Yi was actually unable to stop him. He's dead. This time, the gigolo is dead. Kid, be careful, Yin Song shouted. Humph. Of course, Yang Hongwu wouldn't be so stupid as to meet force with force. Moreover, his devouring furnace was currently completely devouring the energy of the treasure spear. If he was attacked like this, although it was impossible to kill him, it wasn't necessarily a good thing to be attacked while he was making a breakthrough. With a thought, he used the teleportation technique and disappeared from where he was. Bam! Yiwang's fist landed heavily on a fake mountain. The huge rocks of the fake mountain instantly turned into nothingness. One could see how terrifying and overbearing the strength of this punch was. One had to know that this rockery wasn't made of ordinary materials. This was where the face of the Yun family lay. It belonged to the main courtyard. The decorations here were all top-notch. How could it be destroyed so easily? However, it was destroyed by Yi Wang's punch. It was enough to see how terrifying the power of this punch was. If one was hit by it, even a half-step Divine Monarch or a true Divine Monarch expert would have to avoid it. Red Lotus Karmic Fire, go. Yang Hongwu appeared behind Yi Wang in a breath's time. He raised his right hand and condensed a ball of fire. He flicked his finger, and the ball of fire turned into a ray of red light and shot towards Yi Wang's back. In the next moment, Yi Wang was enveloped by the ball of fire. Karmic fire, this was karmic fire. The karma on Yi Wang's body was enormous. In front of the karmic flames, there was nowhere for him to hide. The karmic flames began to burn his soul. He screamed in agony. Under the burning of the karmic fire, Yi Wang finally woke up and realized what he had just done. It hurts so much. Let me go, let me go. He screamed and rolled on the ground, trying to extinguish the karmic fire on his body. However, how could the karmic fire be extinguished? The only way to extinguish the karmic fire was if there was the legendary divine water of extreme and extreme coldness. Of course, there was another type of divine water that could do the same. It was the merit divine water. It wasn't something that could be obtained easily. If the merit could cleanse the karmic fire on his body, the karmic fire would naturally be extinguished. Therefore, there were only 3 ways to extinguish the karmic flames in his body. The first method was the divine water of extreme and extreme coldness. The second method was the divine water of merit. The third method was for Yang Hongwu to remove the karmic flames and resolve the danger Yi Wang was in. However, the first 2 options were absolutely impossible now, so there was only the third option. However, would Yang Hongwu let him go? Of course not. Yang Hongwu didn't care about Yi Wang's words. Save me, save me. Yi Wang kept rolling and crawling towards Hong Yi as he shouted, Hong Yi, you have to save me. Chapter 1476. Force back you. Can you spare his life for my sake? Hong Yi asked. After all, Yi Wang was someone that old ancestor Hong valued. He was quite strong and had the potential to break through to the divine monarch realm. It would be a great loss for old ancestor Hong if he was killed like this. Why should I give you face? Yang Hongwu said coldly, Scram. Hurry up and scram before I change my mind. Otherwise, all of you will stay here. You. When Hong Yi heard this, she was furious. This damn brat. How dare he speak to her like this? Although Hong Yi had a good impression of Yang Hongwu, she was still furious that Yang Hongwu didn't give her face. Don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. Hong Yi, am not trash like Yi Wang. So what? In my eyes, you're also trash. Yang Hongwu didn't care about Hong Yi's threat. Yun Song, who was standing at the side, was stunned. This brat's tone was so arrogant that he didn't even put Hong Yi in his eyes. One should know that Hong Yi was the most outstanding genius and the most powerful expert under Old Ancestor Redline. She was the successor groomed by Old Ancestor Redline. Who was Old Ancestor Hong? She was one of the top 3 experts in the Common People's God Realm. Her strength was incomparably strong. Other than the 2 giants in the Common People's God Palace, she was the strongest expert. In other words, no one in the Common People Divine Realm dared to go against Old Ancestor Hong, except for the Common People Divine Palace. As the last disciple of Old Ancestor Hong and her successor, Hong Yi's status was high. No one had ever dared to talk to her like this. Even the geniuses in the Common People Divine Palace had to respect her. However, this brat in front of him didn't care about Hong Yi at all. He was even provoking her. This shocked him. Although Yang Hongwu had the powerful karmic fire of the Red Lotus, his cultivation wasn't high. If he didn't have a strong backer, he wouldn't have dared to talk to Hong Yi like this and go against Old Ancestor Hong. This was also the reason why Yin Song told Yun Bufan to escape after seeing him. Even though Yun Bufan's cultivation had already broken through, he didn't want him to enter. The combined strength of Old Ancestor Hong Xian and the Liao family could be imagined. Even though young Master Yun Bufan had broken through to the monarch god realm, he had only just broken through. The gap between him and old ancestor Hong Xian was not small. You deserve to die. I'll kill you. Hong Ye was furious. She clenched her jade-like hand into a fist and threw a punch at Yang Hongwu. Humph, insignificant skill. Yang Hongwu snorted lightly. He didn't use any dermic powers. Instead, he used the strength of his physical body to meet the attack with a punch. Bang! Yang Hongwu's body swayed, while Hong Ye was forced back several steps. When everyone saw this scene, they were all stunned. What a powerful cultivation base. What a terrifying physical strength. This kid didn't use any dermic powers. He only used the strength of his physical body to block her attack. His physical body is too strong. Although Hong Ye didn't use her full strength, she only used 50% of her strength. However, even if she only used 50% of her strength, it was still very terrifying. However, her opponent didn't even use any dermic powers. He only used the strength of his physical body to block her attack. Moreover, he even had the upper hand. How could she not be shocked? Strong, too strong. His physical body was so strong that no one in the common people's divine realm could be his opponent. Get lost, Yang Hongwu shouted coldly. His cultivation base exploded. He broke through from level 4 Great Emperor Realm to level 5 Great Emperor Realm. At this moment, Yiwang's spear was completely refined by him. If you don't know what's good for you, I'm going to use the godly flame. Yang Hongwu raised his right hand. A ball of flame was jumping around like a spirit. The fiery lotus was still cultivating. However, Yang Hongwu's cultivation base had increased a lot. Even without the help of the fiery lotus, Yang Hongwu's control over the karmic fire of the red lotus was like a fish in water. He could do whatever he wanted. His control over the karmic fire of the red lotus had reached the pinnacle. His control over the karmic fire of the red lotus had reached a level where he could control the karmic fire of the red lotus. It could be said that in terms of controlling the karmic fire of the red lotus, no one could be more powerful than Yang Hongwu, except for those natural fire spirits. Seeing the karmic fire of the red lotus in Yang Hongwu's hand, Hong Ye couldn't help but take a few steps back. She was extremely wary of Yang Hongwu. If she hadn't tried to probe his strength, she wouldn't have given up so easily. However, after that probing attack, Hong Ye couldn't figure out Yang Hongwu's strength anymore. Although his cultivation level seemed to be at the 5th level of the Great Emperor Realm, and he had just broken through, he had many treasures in his possession. The palace was extremely powerful, and he had a huge furnace that seemed to be able to devour everything. She felt threatened by those treasures. Furthermore, the divine fire in his hand was the terrifying karmic fire of the red lotus. What kind of person was he? He had so many supreme treasures in his hands. Each and every one of them was incomparably precious and would be fought over by those divine emperors. Even old ancestor Hong Xian only had one treasure that was comparable to the treasures in Hong Ye's hands. In fact, it wasn't even comparable to the treasures in Hong Ye's hands. Many thoughts flashed through Hong Ye's mind. She looked at Yang Hongwu and said coldly, "I'll let you off this time. However, my master won't let you off." Then, she turned to her subordinates behind her and said, "Let's go." After Hong Ye left, Yun Song heaved a sigh of relief. He looked at Yang Hongwu and said, "This time, it's all thanks to you. I apologize for my rude behavior just now. However, if you dare to say those words again, I won't be polite. I hope you won't talk nonsense about the Yun family and the young master." Yang Hongwu didn't know whether to laugh or cry. This guy was really a loyal servant. He wasn't disloyal to the Yun family and Yun Bufan. "Forget it. I won't argue with you." Yang Hongwu laughed in his heart. Everything he said was the truth. If he wanted the entire Yun clan, he only needed to say a single sentence. Moreover, now that Yun Bufan was his servant, their old ancestor Yun Bugawei, no, it should be said that Yun Bumi was also his slave. Therefore, the entire Yun family belonged to him. Chapter 1477. Nine Heavens Dragon Monarch Yang Hongwu was helpless against Yun Song's words. If Yun Bufan couldn't deal with it, then he might not be of much help. If Hongye had fought to the death with him, Yang Hongwu wouldn't have had the upper hand because he didn't set up a formation. He couldn't have defeated Hongye by relying on his own strength. After all, although Hongye wasn't a divine monarch, his strength couldn't be underestimated. He was an invincible existence under the divine monarch realm. He was very powerful. Of course, it would be different if he set up a formation. However, Yang Hongwu wouldn't set up a formation at this time. It would consume his energy. Without any benefits, Yang Hongwu wouldn't set up such a powerful formation. It would consume his own strength. The loss outweighed the gain. In fact, Yang Hongwu wasn't too worried. Yang Hongwu felt that the strongest aura in the inner courtyard of the Yun family was undoubtedly Yun Bufan. As for the other three, one was Yun Bufan's grandfather, Yun Yifeng. His strength wasn't bad at the divine monarch realm. The other person was probably the Liao family's old ancestor. His strength was comparable to Yun Yifeng. As for the last person, he was much stronger than Yun Yifeng and the Liao family's old ancestor. However, he still couldn't compare to Yun Bufan. This point made Yang Hongwu quite surprised. Although Yun Bufan was at the divine monarch realm, according to Yun Song's words, Hongxian's old ancestor was the third strongest expert in the common people's divine realm after the two giants of the common people's divine palace. His strength was unimaginable. It was absolutely impossible for Yun Bufan, who had just entered the divine monarch realm, to be comparable to him. In this case, Hongxian's old ancestor should be a fake. If he was real, Hongye wouldn't have left so easily. Therefore, that guy was definitely a fake. Or perhaps it was just an incarnation. In any case, he would know once he went to take a look. Since it was just an incarnation, there was nothing to worry about. If the original body came, it would be a tough battle. Yun Bufan probably wouldn't be a match for the other party. Well, if possible, I will take action, Yang Hongwu said indifferently. That's great. We have to hurry. I'm worried that something will happen to the young lord and the patriarch. Yun Song hurriedly rushed forward. Yang Hongwu followed behind. After a dozen breaths, the two of them arrived at the inner courtyard of the Yun family. At that moment, Yun Bufan was facing off against the other two, while Yun Yifeng was standing to the side. His aura was weak, and it was obvious that he was seriously injured. As for the others, they were looking at Yun Bufan and the other two. From the looks of it, this battle would be settled by Yun Bufan, the Liao clan's ancestor and the red-clothed lady. Patriarch, seeing Yun Yifeng, Yun Song hurriedly rushed over with a worried expression. Senior, we meet again. Yang Hongwu looked at Yun Yifeng. Yang Hongwu didn't like this old man at all. This old man thought too highly of himself and looked down on others. Moreover, he was good at scheming. Yang Hongwu didn't like such an old man. Young Master Yang, I have to thank you this time. Yun Yifeng looked at Yang Hongwu and quickly stood up to salute him. I can't afford to be treated like this by Senior, Yang Hongwu said with a sarcastic look. Yun Song was very angry when he saw Yang Hongwu being so rude. He pointed at Yang Hongwu and shouted, How dare you talk to my patriarch like that? Yun Song, shut up. You're not allowed to talk to young Master Yang like that. Yun Yifeng glared at him and scolded. But patriarchy, he is so rude? Yun Song looked aggrieved. He couldn't figure out why his patriarch was not angry when he was being insulted like that. Instead, he blamed himself. Yun Song felt extremely depressed. Yes, patriarch. Although he said so, his eyes were still staring at Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu ignored him. Young Master Yang, I'm sorry. My family subordinate was rude. I hope young master will be magnanimous and not bother with him. Yun Yifeng looked at Yang Hongwu and said, Forget it. Yang Hongwu waved his hand and said, Young master, can you help Bufan? Yun Yifeng then turned to Yang Hongwu and said, Young master's strength is extraordinary. Dealing with those two is just a matter of lifting your hand. If young master can help my Yun family will certainly give you a big gift. Yang Hongwu smiled. This old guy was really good at scheming. However, Yang Hongwu didn't care. TSK. If Yang Hongwu wanted something from the Yun family, he could get it. He didn't need Yun Yifeng's consent. Yun Bufan would definitely agree. If Yun Yifeng refused to agree, Then Yang Hongwu only needed to mention Yunbu Mie. Who was Yunbu Mie? He was the old ancestor of the Yun family. The Yun family was his backer. In the Yun family, except for Yunbu Fan, everyone was suppressed by Yunbu Mie, no matter how strong they were. Unless they reached the half-step divine emperor realm, they couldn't get rid of this oppression. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to resist in front of Yunbu Mie. Tell me about it. Yang Hongwu looked at Yun Yifeng and said, "What is it? If I like it, maybe I will help you. I see that young master's bloodline is special. I think there's something that can help young master." Yun Yifeng said, "This thing can activate young master's special bloodline and make young master's strength reach a higher level." Bloodline was something that could activate the battle physique. Yang Hongwu squinted his eyes and said, "Are you kidding me? If you have a treasure that can activate your bloodline and battle physique, wouldn't you give it to Yunbu Fan? Why would you give it to me?" Yang Hongwu didn't really believe it. In fact, it was too difficult for Yang Hongwu to activate his bloodline and battle physique. Yang Hongwu faintly felt that his 9 dragons' sacred body wasn't the limit. The secrets of his body were much more special than what he knew. His physique wasn't as simple as the 9 dragons' sacred body. That thing was obtained by our ancestors in an ancient secret land. Rumor has it that it's a treasure that was ejected from the Supreme Fortune Gate. We don't know what it is, but ordinary people can't get close to it. However, there was once a warrior who possessed the bloodline of the real dragon. After coming in contact with that thing, he activated his supreme bloodline and became a peerless expert. He was called the 9 Heavens Dragon King. Yun Yifeng said. Hearing this, Yang Hongwu was really interested. Activating the real dragon bloodline? True dragon battle physique? That's not bad. Chapter 1478. A smart person, you've really piqued my curiosity. Yang Hongwu looked at Yun Yifeng and said, "What exactly is it?" Yang Hongwu didn't want to waste time with him. He frowned slightly and was somewhat dissatisfied. The Fate Dragon Stone. I call it the Fate Dragon Stone. Yun Yifeng said, "As long as you help my Yun family kill those 2 people, the Fate Dragon Stone will belong to you." The name was quite intimidating. However, Yang Hongwu had to admit that such an item was extremely tempting and could be of great help to Yang Hongwu. Anything related to dragons would be of great help to Yang Hongwu. Even if he didn't need it, he could give it to Lu Li. Therefore, he had to get his hands on the Fate Dragon Stone. As for helping him kill the Liao family's patriarch and the Red Line's patriarch's clone, it was nothing. All right, Yang Hongwu nodded and raised his right hand. A ball of flame condensed. It was the Red Lotus Hellfire. At this moment, the Liao family's patriarch and Red Line's patriarch were fighting with Yunbu Fan. For experts, they couldn't be distracted. As for the others, they didn't care about them. Among these people, only Yun Yifeng was qualified to participate in the battle. However, Yun Bugui had already lost his fighting strength before Yunbu Fan arrived. As for the others, they were too weak to participate in the battle. Once they did, they would be courting death. Therefore, the 2 didn't pay attention to Yang Hongwu at all. Yang Hongwu appeared behind the Liao family's patriarch in an instant. The hellfire condensed in his right hand gently flicked and landed on the Liao family's patriarch's back. This time, the Liao family's patriarch's karma was ignited. The hellfire burned fiercely. The Liao family's patriarch screamed, "Sneak attack! Damn it! Who sneak attacked me?" The power of the hellfire was terrifying. The Liao family's patriarch instantly felt his soul being burned and the hellfire on his body was burning. Hellfire! This is hellfire? Why is there hellfire? If they were to fight head-on, the karmic fire of the Red Lotus would not be able to do anything to the Liao family's patriarch. After all, the patriarch was very powerful. Although Yang Hongwu had the karmic fire of the Red Lotus, his strength was not strong enough. Moreover, he could not release much karmic fire. However, because the Liao family's old ancestor was in the middle of the battle, he didn't notice Yang Hongwu's existence at all. He also didn't expect Yang Hongwu to have such a terrifying flame. It was even the legendary karmic fire. The moment he was distracted, Yunbu Fan seized the opportunity. Yunbu Fan only saw Yunbu Fan punch out, and a fierce and overbearing fist force instantly bombarded the chest of the Liao family's old ancestor. Two's patriarch, S family, patriarch's patriarch. This attack instantly caused the Liao family's patriarch to be seriously injured. Only then did he force the hellfire out of his body. At this moment, the Liao family's patriarch didn't have much combat power left. Great ancestor Hong Xian realized that something was amiss. Hellfire. It was the legendary hellfire of the Red Lotus. She flashed away from the battlefield and left the battlefield. The Liao family's patriarch was severely injured and had no combat power left. She was just a clone with the same strength as the Liao family's patriarch. Without the Liao family's patriarch's cooperation, she wasn't Yun Bufon's opponent. This operation had failed. If she didn't retreat in time, she would be left behind. That was something she didn't want to see. Even if her clone died, it wouldn't be a threat to her original self. At most, it would injure her original self. She could recover after a few days of recuperation. However, the price to pay wasn't small. After all, it wasn't easy to condense a clone. It required a lot of energy, and it would cause her strength to be less than 80% of her peak in a short period of time. It would take at least a few years for her to recover. At their level of cultivation, the thing they didn't lack the most was time. Therefore, once their clone died, their strength would be damaged. During this period of time, if they weren't strong enough, it would give others an opportunity to attack them. This was the reason why some divine monarch realm experts rarely use their clones. In fact, Yang Hongwu wasn't very clear about this. His clone didn't have this restriction. Yang Hongwu cultivated the Qi transforming 3 pristine secret technique, which allowed him to create 3 clones. Although the 3 clones were weaker than his original self, they could be interchanged with his original self. He could also take them away at any time. Even if his clones were killed, it wouldn't cause much harm to his original self. Who are you? Red Thread's patriarch didn't leave immediately. She was very confident that she could easily escape with her strength. Therefore, she didn't leave for the time being. Instead, she looked at Yang Hongwu and asked. Old ancestor Hong Xian was very curious. The young man in front of her was only at the 5th level of the Great Monarch Realm, but he was able to control the legendary karmic fire of the Red Lotus. This really surprised her. She would never believe that he had subdued and refined the karmic fire of the Red Lotus. Therefore, there was only one possibility. Yang Hongwu had a huge force behind him. In other words, there was an unparalleled expert behind him. Otherwise, it would be impossible for him to subdue the legendary hellfire. Yang Hongwu was nothing to her. Even if Yang Hongwu had the hellfire, which was indeed very powerful, Yang Hongwu's cultivation was too weak. His realm was too low, so he couldn't unleash the full power of the hellfire. Yang Hongwu wasn't a big deal, but Yang Hongwu's identity was different. What she cared about was the force behind Yang Hongwu. Red Thread's patriarch was able to reach her current level as a woman and become the 3rd strongest expert in the entire common people's divine realm. How could she be so simple? She was different from Hongya. After all, Hongya was still young and didn't think as much as her. She wasn't stupid enough to use Yang Hongwu or even capture Yang Hongwu as a cultivation cauldron. At this moment, she had already regarded Yang Hongwu as an expert who was on the same level as her. Cooperating with him was a very good choice. However, before that, she needed to know his background. At least, she needed to know some information about him and his name. Me? Yang Hongwu was stunned. He said, "Are you going to take revenge on me?" "No, that's not what I meant." Red Thread's patriarch shook her head and said, "You're an amazing person. This time, I admit defeat. I don't know what relationship you have with the Yun family. Here are some things to show my sincerity. If she provoked something she couldn't afford to provoke and brought disaster to herself, the loss would outweigh the gain. This time, old ancestor Hong Xian was very careful. She didn't take action, but sent a clone. It was clear that she was a person who was afraid of death. It's all this bastard's fault. Yin Yifeng's eyes twitched. He glared at old ancestor Liao and said, "I'm going to kill him. If it wasn't for him, our Yun family wouldn't be facing such a disaster. Yun Yifeng condensed a finger sword and shot out a sword chi. It was about to behead old ancestor Liao. Yang Hongwu snorted. This old thing is too obvious. Does he think I'm a fool? With a single thought, the devouring furnace erupted and devoured the sword chi in an instant. Young Master Yang, what are you doing? Are you going to protect him? Yun Yifeng's expression changed slightly. He looked at Yang Hongwu and asked, Killing people is not a good thing. I still have questions to ask. Yang Hongwu said, Young Master Yang, he's not your prisoner. You have no right to punish him. Yun Yifeng's face sank. He was a little unhappy. Then he said to Yun Bufan, Bufan, kill him. Grandfather, young master, Yun Bufan said, Young master wants to ask. I can't kill him. You. Yun Yifeng was furious. You still know that I'm your grandfather? Are you going to side with an outsider? Yun Yifeng didn't expect Yun Bufan to refuse him. This made Yun Yifeng lose face. Even if you kill him, I can still find the answer. Yang Hongwu looked at Yun Yifeng with a smile. I don't think old ancestor Hong Xian would lie to me. Yun Yifeng was speechless. Indeed, judging from old ancestor Hong Xian's behavior, if Yang Hongwu wanted to ask, old ancestor Hong Xian would tell him the truth. At this time, Liao family's old ancestor also woke up. He looked at Yang Hongwu and the others and smiled bitterly. He didn't expect that he would fail and almost die here. Who are you? Liao family's old ancestor looked at Yang Hongwu. It could be said that the culprit of his failure was Yang Hongwu. His plan this time would definitely succeed if there were no accidents. However, he didn't take into account two problems. One was Yun Bufan. He didn't expect Yun Bufan to break the shackles and become a true divine monarch rel powerhouse. If they hadn't injured Yun Yifeng before and lost his fighting strength, he and old ancestor Hong Xian wouldn't have been able to win against Yun Bufan and Yun Yifeng even if they joined forces. Originally, they still had a chance, but Yang Hongwu's appearance broke the balance. He was sneak attacked by Yang Hongwu and was hit by the karmic fire, almost dying. It was originally a sure thing, but an accident happened. My name is Yang Hongwu. Yang Hongwu said, You are the patriarch of the Liao family. What I am curious about is, why did you deal with the Yun family this time? If I tell you, will you let me go? Liao family's old ancestor said. It depends on my mood, but I can guarantee your Liao family's safety. Yang Hongwu said, Of course, if you don't want to say it, then I'm sorry. Also, even if you don't say it, I have a way to find out. Thank you. Liao family's old ancestor smiled bitterly in his heart and nodded, I'll say it. In fact, although my Liao family and the Yun family have always been enemies, it hasn't reached the point of life and death. This time, the reason why I joined forces with old ancestor Hong Xian to deal with the Yun family is to obtain something. What is it? God-forging order. Before Liao family's old ancestor could say it, Yun Yifeng spoke up. That's right, it's the God-forging order. Rumor has it that obtaining the God-forging order will allow one to obtain the supreme secret technique and the opportunity to become a supreme powerhouse. Liao family's old ancestor said, Grandfather, you have the God-forging order? Yin Bufan heard and hurriedly said. Chapter 1480. Internal Strife. Forging God Order? Yang Hongwu was curious. Yang Hongwu had never heard of such a thing before. Forging God. Even a god could be forged. TSK, what a big mouth. Young master, this forging God order, rumor has it that it can nurture a peerless expert, which is a divine emperor expert. Once you obtain the forging God order and find out the secret, you can break through the shackles and become a divine emperor. Yin Bufan said, if it's that easy to break through to the divine emperor realm, then this forging God order is really amazing. Yang Hongwu had to admit that if what he said was true, then this forging God order really existed. It would be really awesome. Rumor has it that the ancestor of the Yun family, Yin Bugue, obtained the legendary forging God order and became a divine emperor expert. Liao family's old ancestor said, this time, old ancestor Hong Xian and I have joined hands to obtain the forging God order. If that's the case, then how could old ancestor Hong Xian give up so easily? Yang Hongwu said coldly, still not believing it. Although the forging god order can be said to be able to forge a god. In fact, many people have obtained the forging god order before, but none of them were able to find the secret and become a divine emperor expert. Liao family's old ancestor said, "After all, it's just a legend. As for whether it's true or not, no one knows. You can go." Yang Hongwu said after thinking for a while. "You're willing to let me go?" Liao family's old ancestor looked at Yang Hongwu in disbelief. He never thought that Yang Hongwu would let him go. This made him very surprised. After all, he was an enemy to the Yun family. He and old ancestor Hongxian had caused a huge loss to the Yun family. The entire Yun family was almost completely destroyed by them. Yang Hongwu actually said that he would let him go. Even if he was willing, Yun Bufan and Yunifeng would not agree. "No, Bufan, we can't let him go. He made our Yun family like this. Who knows how many of our Yun family's people have died? How can we let him go so easily?" Yunifeng heard this. "No, absolutely not. How could he let the Liao family's old ancestor go? That was absolutely unacceptable." This, Yun Bufan was also depressed. The Liao family's old ancestor and Hongxian's old ancestor had dealt a devastating blow to the Yun family. Of course, he was unwilling to let the Liao family's old ancestor go. But now that young Master Yang Hongwu had spoken, he didn't dare to go against Yang Hongwu's words. However, he was also very unwilling to release the Liao family's ancestor. Therefore, Yun Bufan was in a very difficult position. "Young Master," Yun Bufan looked at Yang Hongwu. "Young Master, why did you let him go?" "You can't let him go. You absolutely can't let him go," Yun Yifeng shouted. "If young Master says so, then so be it." At this moment, a voice was heard. It was none other than Yun Bumi. Although Yun Bumi's cultivation hadn't fully recovered, his aura was very frightening. His cultivation was also very terrifying. Even though he hadn't fully recovered, he was still much stronger than Yun Bufan. "Young Master, I'm late." Yun Bumi came to Yang Hongwu's side and said respectfully. Yang Hongwu was stunned for a moment and said, "Why are you here? Didn't I ask you to recover your cultivation?" "Young Master," Yun Bumia smiled bitterly. "I have already integrated the ancient forest of no return. However, it will take some time for me to recover my cultivation. That's why I came out to protect you, young Master, in case someone tries to harm you." "Forget it," Yang Hongwu sighed and said, "Has the matter of the ancient forest of no return been settled?" "Young Master, everything has been settled," Yun Bumi said. "That's good. Who are you?" Yunifeng's face sank when he saw Yun Bumi. This person gave him a very terrifying feeling. His aura seemed to be even stronger than Yun Bufan's. "Old ancestor," Yun Bufan hurriedly bowed. Although Yun Bumi wasn't the real Yun Bugue, he was still the incarnation of Yun Bugue. He could be considered as the old ancestor of the Yun family. "Old ancestor?" Yunifeng was stunned when he heard that. He looked at Yun Bufan and said, "Bufan, are you mistaken? Did you call him old ancestor?" "Grandpa, he is indeed an ancestor of our Yun clan. Not only that, he has guarded the ancient forest of no return for countless years. His strength is incomparably powerful. If it weren't for some special reason that caused his cultivation base to be suppressed, even the Red Line ancestor wouldn't be his opponent." Yun Yifeng frowned and said, "Impossible. This guy can't be the old ancestor of the Yun family." Yun Yifeng's eyes shot out a cold light. This person actually obeyed Yang Hongwu's orders. Even if he was the old ancestor of the Yun family, he couldn't admit it. Otherwise, it wouldn't be good for the Yun family. I don't know where this guy came from. How dare he pretend to be the old ancestor of the Yun family? Do you know that you're courting death? Yun Yifeng looked at Yun Bumi and said coldly. He didn't hide the murderous chi in his eyes. "Bufan, kill him. Kill this guy who dares to pretend to be the old ancestor of the Yun family." If people knew that the old ancestor of the Yun family and the young master of the Yun family had recognized a stranger as their master, what would happen? Wouldn't that mean that the Yun family already belonged to someone else? That was something that Yun Yifeng didn't want to see. If that happened, the Yun family would be destroyed. The Yun family was a descendant of a divine emperor. They had a noble bloodline. How could they become someone else's servants? Bastard. Yin Bummy was furious when he heard that. He waved his hand, and a powerful and overbearing force instantly bombarded Yun Yifeng's body. Yun Yifeng was immediately sent flying by that overbearing force. Grandfather, Yun Bufan was very nervous when he saw that Yun Yifeng was sent flying. He quickly caught Yun Yifeng and sent a pure spiritual power into Yun Yifeng's body to protect his heart. To Yun Bufan, Yun Yifeng was his grandfather. He was the closest person to him. Therefore, when he saw that Yun Yifeng was sent flying, he was very angry. Even though he knew that Yun Bummy was the old ancestor of the Yun family, he was still very angry. You hurt my grandfather. Yun Bufan stared at Yun Bummy and said, "If anything happens to my grandfather, I won't let you go." Oomph. A bastard like him who betrays his own family. Even if I kill him, what can you do to me? Yun Bummy said coldly. Forget it. Yang Hongwu said, "We are a family. Why do you have to make a scene like this? I don't want the two of you to have any conflicts. Both of you are my right-hand men. In the future, you will contribute to me. If you fight among yourselves, what will happen? Do you want to ruin my plan?" Yang Hongwu glared at them, and the two of them immediately stopped. Yes, young master. Chapter 1481. Seeds of Karma, Fire. When Yunbu Mie heard this, he smiled bitterly and said, "What forging god order? I have never obtained it before, but I have heard of it. However, I do not know whether it is true or false." Yang Hongwu's expression changed slightly when he heard this. He looked at Yun Yifeng and said to Yunbu Mie, "But I just heard that you obtained the forging god order and broke through to the divine emperor realm. How could that be? It is extremely difficult to break through to the divine emperor realm. How could a mere forging god order do it?" Yunbu Mie shook his head and said, "Do you really have the forging god order?" Yang Hongwu was no longer entangled with whether Yunbu Gue had obtained the forging god order or not. Instead, he looked at Yun Yifeng and asked, if there really was that forging god order, he could study it. "No." Yun Yifeng shook his head and said, "I don't have the forging god order either, but there's a piece of news about it. It is a map left behind by one of the ancestors of our Yun family. It is said that this map records an ancient place. In that ancient place, the secret of the forging god order is hidden." "Where's the map?" Yang Hongwu asked. Although there was no time to stay, Yang Hongwu was still very curious about such a thing. After all, it was something that could help a cultivator break through to the divine emperor realm. Even if he didn't know whether it was true or not, he could still seize it. If it was true, it would be an extremely good thing to be able to obtain the forging god order. To Yang Hongwu, it was still very far away from reaching the legendary divine emperor realm. Moreover, he wouldn't need to use such a thing to break through in the future. However, his women were different. They could use those things to break through. "If you want the map, I can give it to you. However, I have a condition." Yun Yifeng looked at Yunbu Mie and then looked at Yunbu Fan. He smiled bitterly in his heart. His grandson seemed to be dead set on Yang Hongwu. Moreover, there was a terrifying person beside him. This person seemed to be a member of the Yun family. If he didn't give it to the Yun family, he was afraid that a great calamity would befall the Yun family. Therefore, it wasn't a matter of whether he wanted to give it or not. He had no choice. "What conditions?" Yang Hongwu looked at him and said, "As long as it's not too excessive, I can promise you." After all, Yun Bufan is also the young master of the Yun family. "Destroy the Liao family," Yun Yifeng said. "What? This won't do. Young master, he's trying to make use of you. He's trying to make use of you to deal with my Liao family." The moment the old master of the Liao family heard this, there was no way he would agree to this. The origin of this young master was mysterious, but his strength was indeed terrifying. If he really wanted to deal with the Liao clan would not be his match. After all, he was able to scare away even great ancestor Hong Xian. Moreover, he was someone who possessed the terrifying hellfire. There was probably a supreme power behind him. "Shut up," Yang Hongwu said coldly. "I spared your life just now. Are you still not satisfied?" "Sir, I have a huge secret that I can tell you." At this moment, The Liao family's old ancestor gritted his teeth as if he had made up his mind. Sir Yang, don't believe him. Yin Yifeng's face changed. He must be stalling for time to deceive you. I'm not that kind of person. Who is as evil as you, old man Yin? You don't even know if your Yin family's map is real or fake. My secret is much more reliable than your Yin family's map. The Liao family's old ancestor looked at Yang Hongwu and said, Sir, as long as you don't deal with my Liao family, I promise to tell you this secret. Oh, that's your only request? Yang Hongwu was a little surprised. He did not expect so many things to happen. It seemed that there were many secrets. It seemed that none of them were simple. However, Yang Hongwu was very surprised. Why were all of them willing to reveal their secrets? Yang Hongwu was still suspicious. Of course not. The Liao family's old ancestor said, I don't want the Liao family to fall in my hands. This is one of the reasons. In addition, Sir is not an ordinary person. I can feel a special power from Sir. This power is very similar to the special power I encountered in that place. Therefore, I guess that place should be fated with Sir. Oh, Yang Hongwu admitted that the Liao family's old ancestor's words had successfully aroused his interest. What is it? It's actually similar to my power? It's not convenient to say this news here, right? The Liao family's old ancestor said, if they know, they will leak it out. It doesn't matter. Yang Hongwu smiled, not caring at all. If it was so easy to get, the Liao family's old ancestor would have gotten it long ago. Why would he say it now? If the Liao family's old ancestor had no way to get it, it could be seen that it was not so easy to get it. In that case, what's the harm in saying it? Moreover, Yun Bufan and Yun Bummy would not betray him. As for Yun Yifeng, if he did not know what was good for him, then he would be sorry. Yang Hongwu never thought of himself as a good person. At certain critical moments, he needed to use extreme means. This was something that Yang Hongwu would not hesitate to do. That place is related to karmic fire. I suspect that there is a seed of karmic fire there. The Liao family's old ancestor said, Sir, you have karmic fire. The chi of that place is very similar to Sir's karmic fire. Therefore, I am sure that the thing there is karmic fire. Where is it? Yang Hongwu's countenance changed when he heard this. If it was really karmic fire, then it was indeed great news. That thing was very dangerous for others. Even half-step divine emperors would find it very difficult to get karmic fire. After all, it was the karmic fire. Once it was touched, it would be disastrous. Unless one did not have a trace of karmic fire in his body. Otherwise, taking the initiative to touch karmic fire would be like courting death. However, it was different for Yang Hongwu. He could absorb and refine karmic fire. In fact, the seed of karmic fire was a tonic for Yang Hongwu. It could enhance his strength and improve the quality of the fire lotus. If it was the seed of the red lotus of karmic fire, Yang Hongwu could even use it to cultivate another red lotus of karmic fire. The red lotus of karmic fire was a heaven-defying treasure. No one would complain about having too much of it, right? However, the possibility was not very high. After all, the red lotus of karmic fire was too rare. Ice Dragon Mountain Stream. The Liao family's old ancestors said. Chapter 1482. Servant Contract Scroll. The Ice Dragon Mountain Stream is a place of death. Even divine emperors will die if they enter it. Yin Bummy explained, rumor has it that the Ice Dragon Mountain Stream was formed by the death of a terrifying ice dragon. In the Ice Dragon Mountain Stream, the resentment of the Ice Dragon Mountain Stream did not dissipate, forming a terrifying land of death. Once you enter the Ice Dragon Mountain Stream, you will definitely die. I went there once and almost died there. Yang Hongwu slightly frowned after hearing this. If that was the case, it was indeed a very dangerous place. Ice Dragon. Was an ice dragon that terrifying? Although it was dangerous, perhaps it was also an opportunity? Yang Hongwu was very confident in his 9 dragons' sacred body. As long as it was a dragon, there was no one who had a more noble bloodline than him. Therefore, if it was really a dragon, Yang Hongwu was not worried at all. Instead, it was a great opportunity for him. Perhaps his cultivation could reach the heavens in a single bound, although the possibility was very small. Of course, Yang Hongwu was not a fool. He would not take risks if he did not have enough confidence. Of course, it's not the Ice Dragon Mountain stream. If I enter that ancient place, I'm simply courting death. If it's really the Ice Dragon Mountain stream, how can I come out alive? Liao family's old ancestor said, "Young master, the place I'm talking about is not far from the Ice Dragon Mountain stream. However, it's not in the Ice Dragon Mountain stream. It's a special ancient place not far from the Ice Dragon Mountain stream. No one knows where it is. I think you're deliberately deceiving young master. You want to scheme against him." Yini Feng said coldly, "Who doesn't know that once you enter the Ice Dragon Mountain stream, you'll fall into a dangerous situation? Everything within 10,000 feet of the Ice Dragon Mountain stream is a dangerous place. If you enter the real Ice Dragon Mountain stream, you'll definitely die. However, the periphery of the Ice Dragon Mountain stream is also very dangerous." "Stop arguing." Yang Hongwu snorted and said, "I'm very curious about the Ice Dragon Mountain stream. I'll find an opportunity to go there regardless of whether there's karmic fire or not." "Young master, you can't take the risk," Yin Bufan said. "This old fellow harbors ill intentions." "That's right. Young master, that Ice Dragon Mountain stream is too dangerous. It is the most frightening place in the entire sacred realm," Yun Bummy urged. "You don't have to worry. Although I plan to go to the Ice Dragon Mountain stream, now is not the time." Yang Hongwu smiled and said, "Before I have enough confidence, I will not take the risk." "That's good." Yin Bummy and Yun Bufan heaved a sigh of relief. Yang Hongwu then looked at the Liao family's old ancestor and said, "Your words can't convince me 100%, so you should sign this thing." Yang Hongwu threw out something. The Liao family's old ancestor's face changed when he saw this. "Contract?" "Yes, this is a contract scroll." Yang Hongwu said, "I think you know this thing. This is a Heavenly Tao contract. It's a level higher than the blood oath of the Heavenly Tao. Unless you've reached the Divine Emperor realm, you can't violate this contract. Once you violate it, the consequences will be more terrible than violating the blood oath of the Heavenly Tao." Yuni Feng's face turned ugly when he saw this. He looked at Yang Hongwu and felt uneasy. He took out this contract scroll and gave it to the Liao family's old ancestor. Would it be his turn after the Liao family's old ancestor was done? Once he was forced to sign the contract, it meant that his life was no longer in his own hands. Could it be that his grandson, Yun Bufan, was also forced to sign the contract? If that was the case, what should he do? Would the Yun family really be destroyed at his hands? At this moment, Yun Yifeng's mood was very complicated. In fact, this contract scroll was comprehended by Yang Hongwu from the Divine Spirit Enslavement Technique. It was a lot lower than the Divine Spirit Enslavement Technique, but the restrictions were a lot less, making it easier to sign the contract. After all, the Divine Spirit Enslavement Technique consumed his spiritual power and spiritual power, but this contract scroll didn't need to consume his spiritual power and spiritual power. Moreover, there was no limit to the number of people who could sign it. The only problem was that the difficulty of making this contract scroll wasn't small, and the materials needed were not simple. It wasn't easy to obtain these materials. If that wasn't the case, Yang Hongwu could completely control the entire divine domain as long as he made enough contract scrolls. "What? You don't want to sign the contract?" Yang Hongwu said coldly. I'll sign it." The Liao family's old ancestor hesitated for a long time and finally nodded. "Liao Mingzhong, are you crazy?" Yin Yifeng saw that the Liao family's old ancestor had finally signed the contract scroll. The scroll turned into a flame and burned, then turned into a mark and entered the Liao family's old ancestor's soul. This meant that the contract had been signed, and the Liao family's old ancestor would be controlled by Yang Hongwu. "Young master." The Liao family's old ancestor respectfully stood behind Yang Hongwu and looked at Yin Yifeng. "Yin Yifeng, I'm a wise man who understands the situation. Young master's identity is noble, and his status is extraordinary. To be able to work for young master is something that many people dream of. I advise you to be sensible." "Young master Yang." Yin Yifeng was very unwilling. He would rather die than be controlled by others. "You don't need it." Yang Hongwu shook his head. Yang Hongwu didn't want to waste the scroll. After all, Yang Hongwu only had a few copies of this scroll. Using one copy meant one less copy. The difficulty of making this thing wasn't small. Originally, Yang Hongwu wasn't willing to use it on the Liao family's old ancestor. However, this guy knew some secrets. He knew about the karmic fire and the ice dragon mountain stream. Yang Hongwu didn't want to use the spirit slave divine technique, so he used this contract scroll. Otherwise, Yang Hongwu wouldn't use such a precious scroll on him. After all, this guy's cultivation and strength were too weak. He hadn't even reached the monarch god realm. The Liao family's old ancestor was very happy. He looked at Yun Yifeng and said, "Old Yun, I didn't expect that you're still inferior to me. You don't even have the qualifications to be young master's servant." Yun Yifeng was very angry. He didn't even have the qualifications to be someone's servant. These words were too hurtful. Yun Yifeng was very angry, but he didn't dare to say anything. He was afraid of angering Yang Hongwu. "All right, don't quarrel. I hope that your two families can cooperate well in the future." Yang Hongwu looked at the two and said, "Yun Bummy, Yun Bufan, the Yun family is still the Yun family. When I return, I only need to use the Yun family strength. A mere Yun family is nothing in my eyes." "Yes, young master," Yun Bummy and Yun Bufan hurriedly said. "Liao Mingzhong, the Liao family too. Develop well. In 3 years at most, I will return to the divine realm. During this time, your two families should cooperate well and develop together." Chapter 1483. 7th level Great Emperor Realm. After arranging everything, Yang Hongwu prepared to leave the divine realm and return to the common people continent. After all, the matters of the common people continent were more important, especially the great seal of the common people. Of course, the most important thing was to find the two women in the common people continent. Everything else could be put aside. "Young master, the teleportation formation to the common people continent is here." Yun Bufan brought Yang Hongwu to a teleportation formation. This teleportation formation was one of the 3 teleportation formations to the common people continent in the divine realm. To teleport from the divine realm to the common people continent, there was a huge restriction. Firstly, the other party's cultivation must not be at the true God realm. Once it exceeded the true God realm, they would be attacked by the laws. If their cultivation exceeded the true God realm, they would have to seal their cultivation. Secondly, to enter the common people continent, one would need to spend a large amount of resources to break through the space barrier. Hence, this teleportation formation consumed a lot of resources. To teleport from the divine realm to the common people continent, one would need to spend a large amount of divine origin stones. When accumulated, it was enough to create a half-step God Monarch Realm expert. Hence, if it wasn't a special situation, no one would be willing to activate this teleportation formation. After all, the consumption was too great. Ordinary forces wouldn't be able to bear it. Another point was that the spiritual qi in the divine realm was very dense. The spiritual qi in the common people continent couldn't be compared to the divine realm. The difference was too great. Those who cultivated in the divine realm couldn't bear the thin spiritual qi. Hence, no one was willing to enter the lower realm from the divine realm unless they had no other choice. Of course, now that Yang Hongwu wanted to return to the common people continent, he didn't need to worry about the resources he needed. As a big family in the divine realm, the top forces, Yun family and Liao family, were both very strong. They could still take out such a small amount of resources. "Young master, you must be careful. You can't resist. If you resist, it will be easy for accidents to happen. If you fall into the space crack, it will be troublesome," Yun Bufan explained. "I know." Yang Hongwu had a very good understanding of the law of space. If there was an accident, he could still use his void travel technique. Yang Hongwu had never tried using the void travel mystic technique to travel to such a large plane. However, one thing was for sure. He could do it. However, the cost would be enormous. After all, a single teleportation of such a teleportation formation would consume so many resources. Yang Hongwu entered the transmission array. When Yun Bufan opened the transmission array, Yang Hongwu felt a powerful suction force. This was the power of the spatial laws. Yang Hongwu's comprehension of spatial laws was actually not very deep. This time, he could properly comprehend it. Yang Hongwu closed his eyes and used his heart to feel the fluctuations of the laws of space. Yang Hongwu felt as though he had entered a mysterious space. His mind swayed, as though he was bathing in the spring breeze. His mind continued to extend, entering the void. Space. Is this space? Yang Hongwu's 9-heaven divine dragon technique was circulating involuntarily. The devouring furnace also appeared, devouring the power of space frantically. In the deity plane, Yin Bufan, Yin Bummy, and the others' faces changed drastically. D***M*. What is going on? Why are the divine source stones being consumed so quickly? Did something happen? Yin Bufan's face darkened, and he said, "Quick, add more divine source stones." Yin Bufan and the others did not want to see any mistakes in the teleportation formation. If the teleportation was wrong, it would be troublesome. D***M*. The divine source stones are being consumed too quickly. Did the teleportation formation send Master to another large world? Yin Bummy was the incarnation of Yin Bugue. Of course, he knew that the deity plane was in fact a large world. In a vast void, there were countless worlds and planes that were similar to the deity plane. The common people's continent was just a low-level plane in the common people's deity plane. Hence, the teleportation formation did not require a lot of energy. However, if it was teleporting to another large world or large plane, it would require a lot more energy. However, they could not stop the supply of energy. If they stopped adding divine source stones, there would be an accident in the teleportation and Yang Hongwu might fall into the void. Then, it would be even more troublesome. There were many dangers in the void. It was scarier than any other world or plane. Those who could travel through the void and even survive in the void were all almighties. At the very least, they had to be at the Divine Emperor realm to be able to do so. If one's cultivation was not high enough, entering the void would be equivalent to courting death. The boundless wind in the void could easily tear a person into pieces or even turn him into nothingness. Yin Bufan, Yin Bummy, and the others were anxious. Yin family and Liao family had taken out more than half of their divine source stones, but it was still being consumed. What should we do? If this continues, even if we take out all our divine source stones, it won't be enough. Yin Yifeng said, "I think that there might be an accident in the teleportation formation. There's no point in adding more divine source stones. It's just a waste of divine source stones." "Shut up. If you dare to say another word, I'll kill you." A cold light shot out from Yun Bummy's eyes. Yun Bummy was a divine slave that Yang Hongwu had subdued using the spiritual slave divine technique. He was absolutely loyal to Yang Hongwu. Everything he did was for Yang Hongwu's benefit. As long as there was any sign of harm to Yang Hongwu, he would not tolerate it and would kill it in the cradle. He was much scarier than the Liao family's old ancestor who had become Yang Hongwu's slave through the slave contract scroll. Yun Bummy did not hide the killing intent in his eyes. If Yin Yifeng dared to say another word, Yin Bummy would definitely kill him. Grandfather. Yin Bufan was also very unhappy. He looked at his grandfather and said, "Young master's safety is more important than anything else. No matter what, we can't let anything happen to him. All the divine source stones of the Liao family are here." The Liao family's old ancestor did not hesitate and took out all the divine source stones. These divine source stones were the savings of the Liao family for many years. Although the Liao family's old ancestor was unwilling, he did not want to die. If Yang Hongwu died, he would have to die too. The contract signed by the Liao family's old ancestor was different from Yun Bummy's spiritual slave divine technique. If the master of the spiritual slave divine technique died, the spiritual slave would not die. They would still be loyal to the master. However, they would usually choose to commit suicide. Therefore, this was the terrifying part of the spiritual slave divine technique. Yin Yifeng was speechless. He did not dare to say anything when he saw Yun Bummy's murderous look. He could only allow Yun Bufan to take out all the Divine Source Stones and place them into the teleportation formation. On the other hand, Yang Hongwu was fine. He was madly devouring the spatial energy to increase his cultivation. 6th level Great Emperor Realm. 7th level Great Emperor Realm. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.